Hey, and we're
Hey,
back.
We're live.
Welcome to another episode of Reptile Hangouts podcast, guys. Thank you for tuning in. It's been a crazy week, so I'm gonna let Nick start it off and let you know about the USARK, and I'll get my ducks together. I promise.
all right. So we're gonna excuse you from that because you're a new daddy, and it is what it is.
No
But
problem.
yeah,
Not on the internet.
USARK, USARK. We talk about it every week. USARK. So they're one of the only organizations fighting for our rights as reptile keepers, and it's ever important now, as it always is. But it's extremely important right now. They're in a fight right now where we're trying to get some L.A.C. Act amendments removed from this gigantic economic document called the America Competes Act. And these L.A.C. Act amendments will basically cripple the hobby if they go into place in the industry, and also have rippling effects throughout the animal community and zoos and things like that. So definitely check out the link in our description. Go to usark.org. If you're a reptile keeper and you're not a member of USARK, you should definitely become a member. And go through their information that they have there and figure out how to contact your senators. I've been doing that myself. Just got a really personal email back from my state senator, not personal at all, so I have to make a phone call. But yeah, do it. It's not hard. Make contact, let them know you have some opposition to this stuff. Definitely check out USARK. So we'll roll right into what's new.
Yeah.
You
What's
want to
new?
start there, Gabe? What's new with you, buddy?
Yeah, he's pointing at me. He's
I'm
pointing
pointing
at
at
me.
him. I don't know where you're at, but
Yeah, who has better news than you?
All right. So you want me to go first? I don't think I got anything really new going on. Other than just prepping for the move.
Gotcha.
That's about it, man. Just still taking care of my new baby Chinese water dragons from last week. Sushi and Wasabi. I love them two guys. Other than that, just
Hey, you should have named them Wasabi and Ginger, like those Lay's chips that came
I
out
know.
a little
Well,
bit.
you know what? I've been actually considering. I'll tell you. I'll tell you guys later. Nick knows. So
Anyway,
Yeah.
so what's new? Most people, hopefully, if you were watching last week, you saw me run away. My baby is here. I have new baby. It's not a dragon or any lizard. It's a human, and it's rough, but we're figuring it out. I'm very tired, but I'm here, and just excited to be back doing the show. So I'll probably be a little quieter tonight, trying to stay asleep, but
all good.
yeah. So that's what's new over here.
All right. Well, we appreciate you being with us tonight, Charles, even though you're still trying to figure out dadhood. You're going to be trying to figure it out for like the next 18 years. So
yeah, for sure.
it is what it is. Yeah. What's going on with me? Nothing too new. If you follow us on Instagram, you'll see I finally got around to making my Chihuahua enclosures bioactive. They look nice. I'm happy with them. Looks like we might have lost Charles a little bit there. He's lagging. And USARK, I was harping on that before. It's really important. I did a reptile show last weekend and tried to collect as much money as I could. Unfortunately, business was pretty bad. But we did get about $96 to donate to USARK. That was nice. But yeah, that's pretty much all that's going on with me. So I think we should just jump right into it.
Am I back?
You're back, yeah.
Back.
All right, sweet. So while we're here, this is exciting. We have Andrew and Sarah Gilpin from L.A.C. Herps. How you doing?
What up, guys?
Hello.
Hey.
How's it going, guys?
Yeah.
Thanks so much for coming in, guys. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So.
Okay, we lost him for a second, so we're
away.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's jump right on into it. So you guys were gracious enough to join us, not even from home. You guys are where right now?
We're in Las Vegas at an Airbnb with your the laptop set up on a couple pillows and stuff on the bed. It's pretty sweet.
Nice, awesome.
Yeah.
We love the commitment. We appreciate it.
Yeah, we figured why not? We got to do something every night, right?
Yeah,
That's true. Yeah, you might as well hang out with some schmoes from Virginia and West Virginia.
Absolutely.
Right?
Happy to join a schmo club.
All right.
Anyway, so you guys are out there because I spoke with you previously, and Drew, he tells me you're a pro disc golfer, Sarah. That's really cool.
I am, yeah.
Yeah,
On
that's
the side,
awesome.
but yeah.
Yeah, it's funny because I set up the videos for the channel, and I put like tags in there for stuff, and I used you guys' names, and then you came up with like a pretty high number on my tag thing, and then I realized that you can YouTube you and you can watch you play disc golf. I was like, wow.
Yeah, I made
Totally
lead
legit.
card at Worlds last year, and
Wow.
have done a couple of different lead cards or feature cards and stuff. So there's some coverage of me out there.
Oh, I actually have a question about that. He was telling me about your disc golf and everything. So do y'all like always just like magically bounce them off trees? How does that work? Because I see it online.
Sometimes the trees are friendlier than others.
Yeah, it doesn't look, because every time I watch it online, it's like it's just gone into the trees, and then you see it just come back, like Captain America's shield or something.
Yeah, you're shooting for certain gaps, but every once in a while you just get a super lucky kick or very bad kick. It just kind of depends on the shot.
Sounds a lot like real golf.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's definitely something I'd be interested in trying at some point.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I want to too, man. It looks fun. I just can't throw.
It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun, and it's nice because like 99% of the courses in the country are free. So you got some money tied up in the discs and stuff, but like it's just kind of fun because it gets you outside and you kind of work on some physical stuff, and you know, even if you're not good, you still see improvements on like every time you go out if you're just kind of working on stuff. So it's a lot of fun, and you know, people of all skill levels just kind of go out and have fun ripping discs around. So we play at Tinley sometimes. There's some good courses like 10 minutes from the convention center.
Yeah, well, if y'all have a extra set of discs,
Careful there.
Yeah,
Talking about herps and discs.
Join y'all for some golf. That sounds fun.
We have a lot of extras. So
Yeah, a few hundred extras for sure.
Just a few hundred.
Just a few hundred.
All right. I did ultimate frisbee in high school, but I mean,
Yeah, I
that's
played ultimate too. Yeah.
as much as my frisbee experience gets.
Oh, we're gonna get you guys hooked. It's a fun time.
It sounds like fun.
Yeah, I need another hobby that I can suck at. So I'm done. So and there's something else for Charles to beat me at.
Yeah.
Come on, you're gonna be good. You know you are.
Yeah, I'll be better than you at least.
That won't be hard.
Definitely.
So before we get into the meat of this thing, we spoke earlier in the week, and you guys were gracious enough to offer a couple of really cool things up for a giveaway. And it looks like from your posts on your page that one of those giveaways is going to be done on the post, correct? That you guys made? You're going to do that on your own comments?
Well, yeah. So, I mean, we can do, you said you might want to do one live here. We also,
yeah.
I mean, whether you want to do that or whether you want to do like, you know, people post comments on the video after.
Okay,
you know,
sure.
It's posted, however you want to do it. And we can do our own thing, and we can do up to 3 different ones. It doesn't really matter to us.
Okay, yeah, either way, however you guys want to do it. I just was reading your post. It looked like maybe you wanted to do one off of the comments on your Instagram post.
Yeah.
But I would definitely.
We can do 2 or 3 different ones. Doesn't matter to us. We got plenty of stuff. So.
Okay, very cool. So yeah, I'd like to do one live tonight. I'd like to go ahead and just announce it now. It looks like we got 10 people in here, and you know, maybe we can wait it out a little bit. If we get some more, we'll go ahead and do it. I have a comment picker. So you guys have, and we're all rocking them tonight.
Yeah.
These cool little, These cool Gecko pendants. Yeah.
Grab one of them.
Yeah, I got.
Yeah, so we've got the little crested gecko pendants. We can do 3 of those, or your choice of a foot stamp disc.
Where's the camera?
It's the camera.
Yeah, we have that problem all the time.
And then so we've got the foot stamp, and then we've got the gecko eye stamp.
Oh, those are
really cool,
man.
Yeah, they're awesome.
Can I enter in the drawing? Those are really cool.
Yeah, for $20.
Yeah.
$20. Gotcha.
Sounds
You want
good.
that Venmo, Cash App? How you want that?
So yeah, that's awesome. We really appreciate you guys doing that. That's really cool. Either of those things would be awesome to have. These little crested gecko pendants are super cool. They're really well made. Like, you don't really lose any of the detail on these little pendants. So there's no mistaking what this thing is, and it's cool. I'm gonna rock it at all my shows and stuff for sure.
Yeah, we actually decorated our face masks at Tinley with them, just like all over black face masks and stuff.
Nice. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
So what we'll do, I have a comment picker that works through StreamYard. I have it set up already for pulling comments from this this stream. What I'll do is when we announce it, when we're ready to do it, we'll just cut in and do it. I want everyone to comment hashtag L.A.C, capital L.A.C. And that's how we'll pick the comment who wins. And then you guys can get in touch with either me, or you can go to LAC_Herps on Instagram, I guess, and get in touch with you guys, one or the other.
Yeah,
or
whatever.
I can put them in touch. Yeah. Okay. Sounds good.
We'll go over that one more time before we do it.
For sure.
Just in case we catch any late arrivals,
For sure. I want to see if it gets any bigger.
We have, we've been corresponding over email, or not email, but Instagram and whatnot, and we have definitely some very specific things to talk about and some pictures to go along with that as well. But I can't ignore my man Mike with the questions as always.
Yeah,
I like this question a lot, and it's a question that I had as well. So.
Yeah, I mean, we're probably gonna fall into a lot of the same stuff that Brian over at Sundown got into, which is just produce a wide variety of Chihuahua, without collars, but also with collars. We try to produce a lot of variety with the Chihuahua, and then just try to constantly increase the just the amount of overall white coverage for sure. I think we're on our 5th or 6th generation of Chihuahua now, and in taking 2.5 to 3 years, per generation. We've been going on them for 15 or 16 years now. It's taken some time, but man, when we got into them, it was, a little bit of a solid collar and almost no body wide is what you could get. And so, yeah, we've just kind of been working and pairing up, doing some trades and pairing up as much body white and white collars and stuff as we can get. And, none of it's been line bred to this point. It's all just been selectively bred and try to get nice animals from other breeders and pair them up, see what we can get.
Nice. I was going to ask you about the long breed, but that answers that.
Yeah, it seems to be the consensus is to stay away from that, which is good for the most part.
Yeah, I mean, we're not completely opposed to, if it like there's a grandfather or something that's shared or something like that, but we try to avoid it as much as possible. And to a certain degree, as others have mentioned, stuff is going to be somewhat related no matter how much you try to avoid it pretty much. We do have, it's not impossible to get hold of like F1 Chihuahua right now, but you're not going to get a lot of it. And a lot of people aren't really wanting, they want color and they want collars. So I feel like just some of the nice standard large Pine Island Chihuahua animals are cool in their greens and pinks and stuff like that for sure. But we keep a couple pairs and just kind of leave them at that. So we do have an F1 male. It's from Steve Cimelli right now, but there's not a lot of that stuff out there for sure. So.
Oh, speaking about your geckos, we were told to ask you about your naming system.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I don't know if you guys caught any of it in the commentary last week, but yeah, Kyle was giving us crap because him and Crystal were over. Shoot, it's probably 5 or 6 years ago now at this point.
Molly nip.
Yeah, we had some animals that were just like M3, M4, M5 from male 3, 4, 5 and female 3, 4, 5, whatever. And Kyle's like, God damn it, guys! He's like, you could literally name them anything. You could name it like doorknob or refrigerator or bathtub. It's like anything is better than what you've got going on.
Very nice. That's fun.
Well, I'll tell you what, I fall in. I don't understand the whole name thing.
So
we like to name the breeders that we're for sure keeping and stuff, but we don't name them all.
It's hard because for like a species, so like say we keep like tokays and white line geckos and stuff like that like they're not really all that variable from each other. You could have 4 or 5 or 6 pairs and you could just call them pair 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 or whatever. But when you have animals that have really pretty distinct features to them, it's a lot easier to call them by name and have people recognize that and become attached to it, or easier for them to track lineages with a name than like, I wouldn't just name them if they were like 100 animals we were keeping to breed and we were like wholesaling them all. But if you're keeping track of lineage, it's so much easier to have a name to go along with it.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
I don't do it for fun. I mean, sometimes it's for fun because we'll come up with really stupid names. So I don't know. We come up with some dumb ones for sure.
Examples.
Well, sometimes we'll pick like a name and then we'll just spell it backwards. So like, here's a real creative name for a female is just going to be Yellow Pin, and we'll call it like Wally Nip. It's just Yellow Pin backwards, but it sounds so ridiculous.
That's how Lelarap got his name.
Yeah, and one of our main breeder males is Lelarap, and it's just the word parallel backwards. It's a nice pinstripe.
Lelarap. That's a cool name, though.
Yeah, I know. So I mean,
That's
sometimes
who the pendant is.
yeah, that's what the pendant.
Oh, really?
Is from that gecko. So.
Right. That's nice.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So where are you guys based out of?
We're near Iowa City. That's in Iowa. There are Iowa cities in other states, but I don't know why you would call Iowa City somewhere else. But
It's like
the
Kansas
one
City,
in
Missouri or whatever. I'm with you.
Yeah.
There is. Yeah.
Or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're like, you guys have been to Tinley. We're like 3 hours directly west on 80.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Iowa City. Yep.
Nice.
Gotcha. Nice.
Now, what? I'm sorry about that. Do you guys keep everything on site, or do you have like an actual like secondary location?
It's all at the house. It's
Nice.
just we spent a couple of years keeping the animals at the new place in a temporary room while we basically gutted a good chunk of the basement and remodeled it completely to get it
That
to
was
work.
my next question. Do you have a basement?
Yes, we do have a basement, and probably I would say like 90% of the homes around us are going to have basements. So we started in a mobile home, moved to our other house which had a basement, and did a couple renovations there, and then moved to the new place a few years ago. So
Yeah.
Nice.
yeah,
Very cool.
I'm in the process of, I don't even like to think about it. I got to move animals and stuff like that here in like about a month, and I'm like freaking out inside.
yeah. We helped Brian at Sundown move his collection to North Carolina a few years ago. That was a project.
Oh, I'm sure.
We had like the biggest U-Haul you can get, half pack with Exoterras, like stacked 4 or 5 high. We didn't break a single cage, but we basically like cut down plywood and like made levels, and then you'd run like one layer of cages and then put a sheet of plywood and strap that in, and then we just stacked them like that, and it worked out sweet. And we moved a couple hundred eggs and a few hundred animals and didn't lose a single thing. So
that's freaking awesome, man. That's
it was pretty
right there.
It was pretty cool.
I would. Man.
Yeah, that's impressive.
All right.
Ryan was teaching me how he plucks his nose hairs in the U-Haul. I got to jab at him every once in a while.
How does he do it?
Yeah.
We'll have to get him back on and ask him about that. Hey, can we get
I'll probably get right up in there for you and
Yeah. Give us a tutorial. Huh?
Yeah. Well, let's get back with Brian and see if we can get a tutorial video.
Yeah.
So,
Sure.
Oh, man.
that's always a good time. That's a good time, man, for sure.
So
I guess. Are you gonna go?
What?
I was
No,
gonna.
you go ahead. You say what you want to say.
I guess we didn't ask that first initial question that you should.
That's what I was gonna do.
Ask,
So, yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
So how did you guys get into this? Into the whole reptile.
It'll probably be a similar story to just about everybody, just hiking around looking for frogs, whatever we can find, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I bought Sarah her first crested gecko for her 16th birthday. And I had kept like a frilled dragon and beardy and Chinese water dragons and basilisks and stuff like that before, just like as pets. But that was kind of what got us going on the keeping more breeding stuff and that kind of stuff. So that was for her 16th birthday. So yeah, a long time ago.
So were you always into it, Sarah? Or did you just decide at 16 that you thought crested geckos were cool? Or
I didn't ever keep any reptiles like as pets or anything, but I did enjoy like going out and looking for toads and things like that as a kid. But
nice.
I enjoyed his bearded dragon and stuff, so we thought we'd just try it, and here we are today.
Yeah, for
Pictures
sure.
of them.
as far as more getting involved in the hobby, I think Wally kind of hit on, and maybe AJ, on like Geckos Unlimited and the Pangea forums. But before Pangea was the Repashy forums, and I guess before that was King Snake had their own forums and stuff, and we were on that too. But right when Alan Repashy kind of got his stuff going, we were kind of getting into finally getting some like higher end pinstripe crested geckos and stuff like that. And I remember the nicest one we ever bought. We went to pick it up at Tinley from a guy named Randy May that was a really good photographer that when we were just starting to get into photography, and he was getting rid of a bunch of really nice animals. So we snagged a few from him when we were walking around Tinley, and I didn't know it was Alan, but he had like a few hundred animals sitting out on the table, and they were all like the nicest things you could find anywhere. He had no banner, no name tag, nothing. And so I'm standing there like an idiot talking to him about him. And he's just kind of looking at me like, who is this kid? So I'm like, yeah, I got some really, he asked me where I got the one animal from. And he's like, oh, it's probably for me. And then he's like, so where'd you get your other stuff from? And I told him a few people. And I was like, I think I got a couple from Alan Repashy too, from other people. And he's like, oh, hi, I'm Alan. And I go, oh, hi, I'm a jackass. And anyways, it worked out. I helped him out on the website. And then he actually flew us out to his place because I was doing photography and Sarah's a vet tech. So we actually microchipped him and Philippe's entire Leachianus collection. And it was pretty cool because, I mean, then you could just scan the gecko and punch in the number on like a spreadsheet, and it would tell you exactly all the information he had on every animal. So if an animal were to like get out or whatever, like he's got 2-3 full-time employees. If something gets out, you know, you've got some priceless wild caught animals that if they get mixed up, it's not a good deal. So it worked out pretty sweet.
That's pretty cool, man.
Yeah, that's a pretty epic story for sure.
And he actually gave me one of my first. He actually gave me one of our first Chihuahua. I bought a few guards from him, and he sent me a little free hatchling for helping out on the website and stuff. So
nice, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Yeah. Damn, that's crazy. So I understand we have some pictures and stuff from you to bring up. How do you want to segue that, Nick? Do you have the pictures in order? Y'all discuss it specifically?
Well, I have them separated by like categories. So I have like, you know, facility stuff and things like that, but I don't have them in a specific order. So, I mean, yeah, we definitely want to talk about, I mean, you guys said you built your facility at home in your basement. We definitely want to talk about the facility. You know, the caging that you guys are using, and I understand there's some information on the listing system that you can partially share with us.
I'm not going to look at the information sheet, but I know most of the details. I'm not supposed to mention the brand, but I can tell you who to contact and get a hold of some of the information. And
sure,
I was the first person to prototype it. Probably going on a year and a half now. And then Brian Susan was, I think, the second person. So we've been running it for over a year, and it's really sweet. So nice. I don't know how you want to do it. If you want to show a picture of just like the facility and go through that and then work into the misting system, or what do you want to do?
Yeah, I'm going to bring up the facility pictures right now. So there we go.
Yeah.
Let me pull up the actual correct screen, so now I can run through them as we go.
Yeah, I think this will be a good way to show some stuff since we're not there, and then it'll be good practice for you guys too. So
yeah, awesome. Yeah,
if that's basically our regular shoebox rack where we're keeping crested and Chihuahua hatchlings. The whole top is going to be Chihuahua, and the bottom's going to be cresteds there, and then we also are trying to keep stuff as much as we can kind of environmentally friendly if we can. So each row of cages there can be separated on the heat tape. So I can pull power on any single one of those rows and only heat one row, or I can heat every row, and it's broken up into.
Oh, that's cool. So you don't have to heat.
Gotcha. So if if some of them are empty, you can turn the power off.
Yeah. So like for an example, I try to avoid, this is an old picture. I try to avoid the top 2 rows and the bottom 2 rows because those are kind of a pain in the ass. And they're also going to have the most temperature fluctuation. And so I can kill those rows entirely separate from anything else. I just have to watch which rows have the temp probes in and make sure I keep those ones plugged in. And so other than that, I can stagger it and kill pretty much any row in there, which is a pain in the butt to set up because I basically have power strips for each section of cages. But it's more work to set it up. But I mean, if you're looking at 3 watts per foot over a 12-foot span, it's 36 watts per row, and if you're able to eliminate that it adds up across the whole room for sure. So
I would imagine it does. Absolutely.
The racks are built by Doug Barr. At the time, I think now you have to go through PM Herps. They have a website, but it's not anything. It doesn't show most of their stuff. They mostly do stuff through shows. But so we've got the and AJ's using a lot of these too. These are the Container Store small shoe boxes you're looking at. The ones that you can see on the right side are the sweater boxes. So we've got the shoe box, men's shoe box, sweater box, and tall sweater box for bins.
Gotcha.
Dude, that setup is like.
I'll tell you what.
It's for my babies for sure.
It's awesome. We've heard this multiple.
Tugs everywhere.
Me too. We've heard this multiple times. AJ said it is the elimination of lids is like a huge giant deal.
Yeah, I used to make my own. I used to make my own racks, but it just ended up being more worth it to pay somebody to do it. And if you look at it per bin space, you stick one animal in that bin space and you sell it, it's paid for that slot once. Like the overhead cost initially seems like a lot, but it's like you stick one animal in there and it's going to pay for 5 bin slots or more.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just something you do and you never have to do it again.
Yeah, heck yeah.
Gotcha.
No, I'll definitely. Looks clean.
I like that. Is that PVC? What material is that?
Yeah, so the nice thing about doing stuff through Doug and Paul is they use a really thin material, which is really beneficial on the hatchling racks for space savings because you're not losing a 1/2 inch of space on width and height.
Yeah,
on everything. And so it's not great for the larger bins, but for like the shoebox and the men's shoebox, it works out really well because you're probably gaining an entire bin slot space and savings over the height or the width of the rack. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But and then all of the racks are wall mounted. If you see, we've got like a 4 to 5 inch gap along the bottom. I do that for cleaning purposes, and also it's a concrete floor in a basement, so it's literally 55 to 60 degrees on the floor.
That'll suck a lot.
There's no way to heat something on the floor like that. I mean, no matter what you do, it's just like a giant heat soak.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Yeah,
so I noticed, is that an insect rack in the corner? Sorry if you already said this. I was trying to get downstairs, get closer to my router.
Insect rack, and which on the
I think he's talking about.
On the right side of the image, I see a lot of egg crate.
Oh, maybe that might be a different picture you're looking at.
No, he's looking at this one.
Oh, wait.
He's talking about.
Oh, okay. So right now we're actually using egg flats for gecko hides.
Oh, okay, cool.
We're working to get away from it just to try to have less disposable, stuff that we're going through. But it works well for gecko hides, and it's really cheap and easy to get rid of. But
really loud all of a sudden.
It tends to hold a lot of moisture, and also it can get soggy and gross, and you never really know what's going into those egg flats. But yeah, the egg flats are just gecko hides for now.
Nice.
So,
do you guys shop at roundvents.com?
I actually bypassed roundvents.com and went straight to the manufacturer for that. So
Gotcha.
But you have to do like a minimum of $500 order to do that. So, and I don't think they really like it that much.
You mean roundvents.com is not the manufacturer?
Roundvents.com, no, is the retailer.
It's a distributor. Your retailer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I checked.
If
I checked recently.
If I were going to have to buy 10 or 20 or 100 of a certain size, I'd go to Round Vents. But I bought enough vents for every bin that you see there, plus double pretty much. So I just went straight to the manufacturer on that and got them a little bit cheaper.
Yeah, I'm going to Round Vents. I got 24 sitting in my cart right now. I'm getting ready to order because I've been doing, hole saw, hot glue.
Yeah,
and it takes so long. Not to mention,
I heard about that.
Yeah, yeah. I'm sort of renowned for my neatness with hot glue, but whatever. It's my claim to
Yeah,
fame.
hot glue works pretty well, but eventually it'll separate somewhere, and
Yeah, it does eventually. That's true. Oh, hey Pepper.
But yeah, I've got vents to put in those smaller ones. We have a lot of humidity issues though in the winter, so I'm like torn between like ventilating those more and just allowing the gap at the top of the bin to be sufficient.
Right.
So there might be some in there. Like we're testing them in different spots to see how they work before I go through and hack up all the bins.
Gotcha.
Oh, it's already 10 o'clock.
Jesus. So we can.
Hey, we knew that was going to happen.
Yeah, I know. See, it happens
every time.
My misters are going off too.
Yeah,
I wasn't in that room anymore. So,
So yeah, you can see we've got a herp stat tucked up in there on the top of the right rack, and then there's one sound that you can't see above the main one there, and those are herp stat 4. So those are controlling 4 different zones per thermostat.
Nice, awesome.
We run also.
I was about
with
to say, Nick. I think there's other pictures there, buddy.
Yeah, there are other pictures there. Yeah, we're gonna go. This was the first one on the roll. That just ended up being on the second one for some reason.
All right,
so these are some of your other cages.
So we bought the cages in pairs and trios. So I wanted everything to be about 4 feet wide. And I knew I was going to make my own racks, but I thought that would be easy to have. Everything's within a half inch of being 4 feet wide. So those are trios of 16 by 16 by 24 high cages. And I went with those size just based on material usage, maximizing for cost.
Yeah.
So
they look very similar to like the Dragon Strand chameleon individually raise baby chameleons. They look very similar to that.
I'm not familiar with those setup, but with that setup, but I did hear you talking to is it Strand, right?
Yeah,
Bill
Strand.
Yeah, I heard you talking to him about those. So, but yeah, so we did those in pairs and trios, and that cuts down on material waste and build time for the cage builders. And so, yeah, it works out pretty good. And then we just had to make the doors bigger than like they used to. They used to be more like a square door, and I had them just make them taller because obviously we want as much visual into the cage as we can get. So all of those cages are all mobile on wheels, and the electrical and misting system all rolls with them. So we get about 10 feet of range per rack there. Which is really nice being able to move stuff around. You have something get out or you just want to clean or whatever. And then I've got a bunch of misting system hidden behind that island of cages too. That's mounted on the backside of one of the islands. The cages that you see on the left side are 16, 16, 24s on the bottom and then 12, 12, 18s on the middle and the top. And that's just for clearance with that soffit that I've got above. Kind of screws up me running more 16, 16, 24s in that space.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So who made these cages?
So those were all by Doug Barr, and I think it's pmherps.com. Again, their website is not too special, but they have all these designs saved in like a CAD file or whatever, so they can remake them. Just tell them that they're the ones that we're running and close to whatever size, and then they can basically cut them out and put them together. So
cool.
Man, awesome. Yeah, those things are
nice.
They're very nice.
Awesome.
Now, I'm assuming you run RO water for your misting system?
Yeah. So we've got an RO system and then like an 11-gallon bladder tank, a pressure tank.
Okay. And
then the misting system, we can get into a little bit more. We got some pictures of the misting system stuff, but it's a pretty advanced system that we're running and that Brian at Sundown's playing with right now.
Now you said a pressure tank is it not like a draw through pump system?
So the pressure tank is a reservoir, and the nice thing about the pressure tank is it keeps it fairly steady. We're on a well, so our pressure fluctuates a bit. We used to have like a 5-gallon float that would gravity feed to the pump to spray. Mm-hmm. But the nice thing about the pressure tank is it feeds the pump better, and it has a more constant supply for that. And then also our misting. So we have flexible spray wands that reach anywhere in the room. We have 2 of them, so Sarah and I can both be working on stuff at the same time. and we can run low pressure spray and high pressure spray, which is
Very
really
nice.
nice. So we can do like 40
Very nice.
psi for spraying like little humid hides and stuff like that. And then if we want to like fill these bigger 16, 24s, we can kick on the pump and it'll just automatically cycle as we need with a pressure switch to just douse those cages if we want.
Very nice. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, it works out pretty slick.
That's not awesome. Like,
Yeah,
I-
those spray wands are super slick for sure. Here's just you can see the men's shoebox on the backside on the left, and then we've got these cages that we were keeping. We don't have many, but we were keeping like a couple garter snakes in there. Now we're keeping like a leopard gecko and some strophaurus and just some random stuff in the middle, kind of more squat cages. What are those? I think they're like 16 wide, 14 high, and 16 deep or something like that.
Okay.
This is kind of like it's about like a 10-gallon equivalent or so. And then we've got these little 8x8x12s up above those. We keep like Urodactylotes and baby white line geckos and morning geckos and stuff in those.
Yeah, man. I really dig the white and the black, man.
Yeah, the tuxedo look.
Looks like
Yeah,
It appears you have like all PVC. I haven't seen any like.
Yeah, we used to have a bunch of I tried building, glass cages and modifying aquariums. I got it to a point where I would like cut out just a section of so I'd take like a 20 long aquarium and I'd flip it up on its end, and then I'd remove just a section of what would then be the top, and I'd screen that, and then I'd put like sliding front doors on it and stuff. So we had a bunch of stuff like that, but we just really needed to streamline everything so it's all really similar, and it just helps when we're gone for people to take care of stuff and helps just us save time. So
Definitely.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and it just looks good.
It does. And speaking of looking good, there you go.
Yeah, look at that.
Yeah, that
Crazy,
was good.
man.
yeah,
I just got a comment on your misting hoses. They're run perfectly. I know how hard that is to get them like perfect where they're not all flopping around in between like 24 inches. That's beautiful. That looks good.
I'm a pretty meticulous individual, and it really takes me forever to do just about anything.
You should have seen us trying to hang those cages too and line everything up perfectly.
Yeah, I feel you on that because that's beautiful.
So
what is each individual row? Oh, it's not sitting on a rack. They're actually like
they're hanging on the wall.
Floating.
yeah, they're all
snap! I thought that was like a rack. I'm like looking at it.
no. So there's like a 3.5 to 4 inch gap between every cage, so I can get to lights and mess with the misting system. I basically saw what I could like fit my elbow through, and then I gave myself like 1/2 inch to 1 inch on that, and figured that was sufficient. And everything's mounted like a cupboard to the wall, so it was a real pain in the ass to get the front of everything to line up. Because even though we built all of those walls, it's a remodel, and you get fluctuation and waves from where the joints are mudded and stuff like that. So, when we first did it, it was like there was maybe a 32nd of an inch fluctuation between any pair of cages. But now, like, the walls kind of shift a little bit, like based on seasons and stuff. So it kind of pops and gives a little bit here and there. So, but yeah, and then all of the hanging plants are all from ficus, artificial ficus trees that we just grab on like Facebook Marketplace and stuff and tear apart.
And just cut up, nice.
Yeah, and then we're working with a bunch of magnets. So I'm working on like hanging cork tubes from hook magnets, so I'll be able to adjust the basking spot from the light on hanging like tilted cork tubes, and then that'll be nice because they can bask on the top, or they can get into the cork tube if they want like a thermal gradient without being under the light.
Yep.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, that is
awesome. Yeah, you guys are pioneering some pretty interesting husbandry techniques for sure.
And so I think right in that those photos are a little bit old. We're running 2 sets of lights now. The lights that are on there right now that you can see are 20-watt puck lights.
Are they both on there?
And those are run off that herp stat. So they'll actually dim as needed to control temperature per level. So they'll dim down and be almost completely out, or they'll crank up to about 60% is where I have them maxed out. Those little puck lights, are garbage, no matter which ones you buy. And they get very brittle if you run them at max output all the time. So the nice thing about the herp stat is I can tell it to just run like 60% max output. And then it makes the bulbs last longer. And then it also makes it so they don't get nearly as hot, and the fixtures last a lot longer doing that. So now we've also got puck lights that are just LEDs that run constant light. And then as the halogen lights dim per level to control temperature, you just get a more uniform lighting on there.
Do you
So
give?
what?
Sorry, I was just curious.
Go for it.
Are you giving? I see you. It looks like you have those puck lights on just about everything. Are you giving like your crested geckos and stuff a basking spot too?
I'm not there right now. Well, so some of them are, but most of the breeders are in bins right now. And I don't have a good way to run lights on those. We used to run the cresteds in like the screen cages has had like the inserts for like PVC like sides and back, but a screen top and screen fronts. And we'd run lights and stuff on those, but we do have lights on some of like our old crested breeders that are just like all grouped together in some of the nicer cages, and they like it. I mean, they just need a spot to get down in the mid 70s, but in our experience, almost all of the New Caledonian stuff will utilize a spot in the low to mid 80s or higher. They just need to be able to get out of it.
You get out of it, okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So the Chihuahua, I have the temp probe set down a few inches from the top of the cage, and I have the thing set to 78. But under that light definitely gets into like the high 80s or low 90s, and they will use that.
Oh man.
And Gargs will do it too, for sure. And the Lychees are in the same style cages. You just you want them. They'll like it for like a couple hours during the day, but they need like the bottom of those cages are like max like low like mid to upper 70s, and then they have a gradient going up.
Gotcha. See, because I keep my room just gets in the like gets up to like the 80s, like low 80s, and I just put a light, just a light across the top.
Yeah.
I was considering maybe trying to do some basking, do like the puck lights for basking, but I just worry.
Yeah, well, so that's the nice thing about the herp stat is I don't have to worry about anything getting out of control, really. I put the temp probe, so it's on like a shared wall of a cage. So for an example, if like the cage that has the temp probe in it, if the bulb goes out on that, in theory, the herp stat's not going to see that temperature drop out. It doesn't know that a bulb is out, so it's going to keep trying to ramp the light output, and it's not going to see it on that cage. So I have the temp probe shared to another wall. So assuming both bulbs don't go out at the same time, it's gonna control accordingly. I shouldn't get too much fluctuation, but you definitely need to have a dimmer or some way to control the temperature from getting too hot.
Yeah, I run dimmers on the halogen lights for like my big lizards and stuff like that.
Yeah, or you could dim it down to like 40 or 50% and then just kick it on for like 2 hours in the morning or 2 hours midday or 2 hours at night or something like that. Yeah. And that way they can use it, but they're not just getting baked all day long. Because these cages, even with those things dialed back to 60%, will get way too hot. Like in the middle of the day, those basking lights aren't on like hardly at all, or they're just like dimming between like 0 and 20% to kind of throttle the temperature.
Gotcha.
So I think there's some benefit to it. It's just a matter of not overdoing it for sure too,
Yeah, because a lot of times, especially with like crested geckos and stuff like that, you worry about, getting them overly too hot. So
yeah, for sure.
I don't know. It's definitely something
I'm the movie one tonight.
Moving all over the place.
I know, man.
All
I've
right,
been
so we have
out of my damn office.
It's all good.
Trying to get comfortable somewhere in the house where there's Wi-Fi, apparently.
So we got several more pictures that looks like it's mostly the same type of caging setup here.
There's some overlap. So
that's bad. I like that.
That corner cage the corner cages are hexagons that look like they're the same size as the other ones, but they're hexagons. Wow. And then I had them design them so that there's like a pass through the back. So I run all of the lighting and everything is coming from the ceiling, and then it feeds through the channel behind the cages, and then it splits out to like branches out to wherever it needs to go. So like almost all the wires are really pretty well tucked, and they're just, if a gecko gets out and shoots in there or something, it's pretty easy to get a hold of it. I don't have to worry about vertical supports or braces or anything in the way. I just grab it and chuck it back in the cage.
Because everything is against the wall, so it's like,
yeah,
you really got nowhere to go.
So the cages are offset from the wall a half an inch, but I have screen or mesh on the ends to keep stuff from going in the back. And that allows for some ventilation to kind of come through the back side of the cages too.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we have some pictures of this misting system. I don't know which one would be better to start with.
I would start with that one that's showing that panel down.
Right here?
Well, that works
Where
too.
my mouse
Go
is?
down to.
Oh, down here? Okay.
That's going to be the main one.
Gotcha.
So that's just got wires hanging out because this is a temporary, or like I need to do some tucking here. But the top is the electrical controller. There's 6 solenoids on there. There's a flow meter. So in theory, once the technology catches up, we'll be able to have like automatic shut off if it sees like an unprovoked flow of water. It'll see the flow meters running when there's a leak, and it'll just shut it down.
You know what? I'll tell you something. Do any of you guys follow the aquarium industry?
I don't, but I know they got some real crazy lights.
I know, because you know what we need? We need a Neptune Apex system. If you have the chance, check that out. It's called a Neptune Apex system, and it's basically a controller, like a brain for your fish tank. And
here's the kind of the basics on the system. Each controller, I think, can do up to 8 wired electrical outputs. So in this case, it's got a pressure controller for the pump. It's got 6 solenoids, and it's got the flow meter on it. You could have 8 solenoids, or you could do whatever you want. And then you can buy like the you've seen like the remote control outlets and stuff. You can scan the frequency from a remote control outlet, and you can program it into the misting system, and you can control your lights. You can control fans. You can control whatever you could plug into a wall that can work off of a remote control outlet. You can have the misting system control.
That's
and you have 0 timers. So I'm running 13 zones right now and don't have a single timer plugged in anywhere. I have not had to program a single timer. I literally just tell it like, it sees like zone 1 through 13, like small, wall mounted cages, or top, middle, bottom, island cages, top, middle, bottom. And I just have them listed by this. I tell it what order I want them to go in, how long I want them to go, and how many seconds or milliseconds or whatever of a gap I want between each one. And it just does it all. And so you could set your time zone to match New Caledonia or whatever you want. And it will it would spray cages, or it would run light or whatever you want based on like a particular time zone. You can program humidity sensors. You can program so much stuff into it. Right now, I've actually got it set up so I can push a button and it'll fill a gallon of RO water, and I can just walk away from it and it'll fill it for 1 minute and 45 seconds and it's full. So you can program it to do all sorts of stuff, and I don't have to worry about overflowing jugs or standing there and filling them. I just put the hose in and hit the button, and the misting system just fills it with the pressure pump. It's freaking sweet.
Nice.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Nice. Now, these solenoids you got lined up here, are these going to be like your automatic pressure relief solenoids? So once the spray is finished, it will relieve that pressure immediately?
Yeah, so they're by default, they're off. And when they're energized, they're open. An issue I was having with some of the zoo timers that will program down to seconds is they have like a little backup battery in it. And when that backup battery goes bad, it loses the memory, and then they default to on when the power is off and turns back on. So I woke up one morning on our old setup, and the misting system had been spraying cages for 6 hours.
Oh my God.
Luckily at the time, I was running a 5-gallon like float style reservoir, and the RO system is pretty slow to regenerate. And also it happened to fail on my 30 largest cages. So it was spraying my 30 largest cages for 6 hours, but it was only
They were
able
still
to.
swamps.
Yeah, they were. I mean, it was a couple inches of water in the bottom of every one. But if I had had that timer screw up on my smallest cages that I only had 6 of at the time, I mean, there would have been just water everywhere. So the nice thing about this is you can program in like extra solenoids that only energize when the misting system goes and cuts off power to that water supply, whether it's a pressure tank or whether it's the like the fill jug or whatever. So you can program all that stuff in. So we've got all of our LEDs are run off of the remote control or the RF controller, and then also I've got strobe lights and a sound machine that kick on that I'm working on for when the misting system goes. It does like a thunderstorm and rain.
Oh man,
sounds,
dude,
and
that is so cool.
It has a lightning strobe and stuff. It's pretty sweet.
There you go.
Yeah, I've thought about that before and thought how cool would it be to be able to like mimic as close as possible every element. You know, that's insane. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was inspired by one of our friends, Gavin Brink. He had that set up at his place, and I don't know for sure how he actually had it set up. I heard about it and didn't actually ever see it in the works, but he's no longer with us. So that was just kind of a throwback to him. It's kind of still in the works, but it functions. I just haven't gotten it fully dialed into the other stuff. So,
Gotcha.
but the board, so the stuff, I get the stuff from a guy named Ryan Turnquist, RT Reptiles, I believe. He does not have a website, but I can get you an email or whatever for the guy that does all the misting system stuff. He worked for the St. Louis Zoo for quite a while and did a bunch of their stuff and is really into misting system stuff. He just does it kind of like as a side gig. So
Sure.
it's pretty sweet.
You spoke a lot about programming. Now, do you use like your computer as an interface?
No, I'm not allowed to talk about the brand of the electronics right now, but it is a functional system that has a fully developed app that's all open source. So you can do a lot of stuff with it, and it's originally designed for like grow facilities and like greenhouses and stuff.
Nice.
So the other great thing about it is like you can just daisy chain these systems together. So this is just one board. I have another board, Nick, if you want to move to that one. Yeah. So you can see I've got another one right here. This is the inside of that island of cages. And so all of those are run with flex hose, and it's basically another subsystem run off of the main one. And you can link up to 70 zones over like I think 8 of these units together. So you could just have one line feed to another room and branch out off to like another 8 units. And you could just keep going with that until you hit like 70 zones or whatever. And then you can run up to like 40 programs, I think, like per unit. So I've got the cages
going on the market.
What's that?
I said, what is this system doing on the market?
You can buy. So he's got info on it. I mean, you can buy it right now. He just doesn't have like a publicly available site to like go and spec it all out. And most like when we did it, he's like, hey man, sketch up how you've got the stuff in the room, because I'm gonna build. He builds the CNC board and everything to fit your setup. So it's like he said in the thing, it starts around $600, and then each additional zone you want to build on from there is about $50. But remember, you're not paying for timers or anything. So you have no programming. Like, do you know how much of a pain in the ass it is to program 10 or 12 of those zoo timers and then have them go out of sync when you have like you have to have an overlap where they're not like, and then they don't keep time properly either. So eventually they start overlapping and stuff. I have none of that. I literally just tell it how long I want it to spray for, and I can manually spray anything for as long as I want.
Man, it'd be awesome to be able to hook up like a humidity probe to something like this.
Yeah, so you can do that. You can do that, and it's designed for like soil temperature. I think there's like soil temperature and soil humidity level probes also. So not only can you have like an ambient humidity probe, but you could also do like soil and have like, oh, let's say, because it's made like, oh, let's say I have like a greenhouse or something outside and it rains that day and you don't want the misting system to go, or in this case, your soil's already saturated within a cage, you can program it to do that with the sensors that you can get for it.
Yeah, I can see that being big for bioactive cages. You don't want it to get oversaturated.
Yeah, it's super sweet. I'm not using any of that stuff right now, but I just kind of keep an eye on stuff. And then, but yeah, that's like a little sub panel there that's behind all those racks and stuff. So
yeah, and we got a little bit of a bigger view here.
Yes, so that's what that center. That's what the center island of cages just kind of rolled out, so you can kind of see like what the access is like and what I've got going on for lights and tubing and stuff running around in there to be able to make it all nice and neat on the outside, but still kind of organized on the inside.
Yeah, it's farther than kind of organized. That's like super organized. I'm sure there's reptile rooms all over the country and the world right now that have more stuff going on, or even the same amount of stuff going on that don't look that good.
Yeah, Sarah and I spent probably 3 hours just untangling wires at Brian's place when we tried to start setting his stuff back up.
Dude, if you came in my house, like the fire.
Okay, so here's my take on this too, though. Like, so all of these have like, these are all like GFCI controlled outlets and sections and stuff, and everybody's worst nightmare, we all know what it is. I'm not even going to say it. Okay. Yeah. You got to worry about water getting to places it's not supposed to be. You got to worry about running electrical cords to too many, should not be going to extension cords, should not have extension cords running into freaking, power strips, running to an extension cord, running into a wall. Like, I take time to do this stuff because I want to be able to maintain it. Obviously, I said I'm a mechanic to you guys earlier. Like, I want to be able to fix stuff when it breaks, and I want to be able to go in and change out a light fixture if it goes bad, and I don't want to be a total pain in the ass when I have to do it.
Yep.
And so I think about it when we built this room. Sarah and I and my dad built these rooms from basically, we ripped out a bunch of stuff to make it happen, and we took our time doing it because I knew from problems that I'd had in the past what I didn't want to run into again. And so I try to make stuff clean, and I try to make it so that it's easier for me to work on. And the drop ceiling is amazing for this kind of stuff too, because I got a lot of
that, and I was gonna comment on it. I figured you had some wire hiding and routing.
So we've got outlets all over in the ceiling. I got my power supplies for the LED lights. All the misting system tubing and stuff is run through the drop ceiling. And then we also, I don't have pictures of this, Nick, but I installed an air exchange unit. So I can intake and exhaust air from this room separate from one another on basically dials. So I can set it to say exhaust all of the room in the air twice in a day at like 10-minute intervals throughout the day, or I can crank it up so it'll dump all the air in 10 minutes if I want. And so it's a Panasonic. It's called an ERV, energy recovery ventilation, I believe. So if the room, say like 80 degrees, you don't want to be kicking all that air out, or all that heat out, or air conditioning or whatever you're doing, depending on the time of the year. It's going to recuperate 70% of that temperature before it kicks it out, and it does an air exchange to allow that temperature to absorb into the incoming air, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So I've got the fresh air kicks in right at the front door. So right when you walk into the room, you're getting hit with fresh air. And then on the opposite corner, it's pulling the stale air out. So it creates a nice airflow through the room. And then you can key off of those lines. So you can run, 2, 3, 4 off of each one if you want to have them. And then you could just put dampers on there to open and close them to split that up and stuff. So what are you laughing about? How I've already taken an hour and I have not even started.
You're good, man. You're good, dude.
This is what we're here for.
Yeah, this is what we're here for. So
Crystal's already talking smack, and Sarah's laughing at me about it.
Oh, what's you say?
Andrew's a much better speaker than I am, obviously.
I'll talk forever. So if you got a specific question from Sarah, you should ask it, or I'll take over.
Yeah, you will anyway. So it's fine.
Yeah, I got you. It's no big thing. I mean, we're happy to have you both here. If you want to chime in anytime, Sarah, just take over.
Yeah, she'll just elbow me.
Yeah, just elbow him and take over.
But yeah, that the air exchange unit, especially in like a cold climate where you got to close the windows for 4 months, it's really nice. It does limit it when it's super cold. It'll limit it to like 5 minutes per X amount of time on the bringing air in to avoid like condensation and issues, but you can bypass it and kick it on or whatever.
Yeah.
But it makes it really nice because otherwise the room gets super stagnant because I'm kicking humidifiers and misting system and stuff all the time. So having that airflow through the room and stuff is really
I could imagine it'd probably get pretty muggy in there if
Yeah, the only issue we have to keep the humidity up, you get a lot of condensation on the windows. So I run like a few computer fans pointing straight at the windows just to dry the condensation on the windows in the basement in that room.
Gotcha.
Oh, right.
Basically thought of everything, seems like.
Well,
Almost.
I add to that all the time. I still need to, I've got computer fans set up to run on almost all of the cages too. I just haven't set that up yet. So, but I've got the little round vents you were asking about, split up for pairs. So it'll be one fan per pair of cages right at the wall that splits them. And it'll just blow straight down from the top. So I've got some pretty slick little computer fans and stuff for running in there.
Nice.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Oh yeah, I would love to see this set up in person. This is incredible.
Yeah, it'd be cool.
Yeah,
it's really
sure.
awesome.
Major
goals.
What's up?
It must be nice to be able to go somewhere and not have to worry about getting someone to come spray your stuff or just
so we that's part of why we haven't put the vents in the small bins yet for hatchlings and stuff, because with the spray wand it's not really difficult, but the more we can minimize, because we're gone quite a lot, the more we can minimize people needing to come over every single day, aside from like maybe pull hatchlings or whatever, is helpful for sure. So people are still over there somebody's over there every day, but a lot of the smaller bins that don't have ventilation only need sprayed like once every 3 days because they're not drying out super bad.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness!
Making its first video debut.
There she goes.
You're already YouTube famous, little one.
What's her name?
Molly.
Molly,
Aww.
nice.
I can't see her, bro. The Charles Gecko Galaxy is in the way.
It's all good. You don't have to lift her too much.
She's out cold, man.
Yeah, she seems like it.
Heck yeah.
That's all she does. Eat, sleep, cry.
Hey,
Yeah, so this
you did the same thing for a long time.
I can attest to that.
Yeah.
Oh man.
So to that.
We're getting a little crooked here on our pillow level.
Sorry.
It's all right.
That's all good.
There we go. My OCD was kicking in.
Yeah,
You're starting to lean a little bit. To
I
make
was
sure
getting the gangsta lean going on.
You got like a kink in your neck now. So you do a lot of field herping, don't you?
Yeah, we tried to do a bit.
Yeah. So you guys have done
What's
some
your,
pretty
what's your latest
crazy traveling too. Yeah.
What was that, Charles? What was the latest what?
Venture.
The last good field herping trip was actually with Kyle Salzman. We went to Costa Rica right before COVID hit.
Nice.
Years ago.
We got some. I mean, we try to. So when we travel for the disc golf stuff, we try to do some stuff also, but it's like limited couple hours here and there. So the last one, well, we did a little bit today, but it didn't really count.
You got a bullfrog.
Yeah, we got an invasive bullfrog.
I was going to say, did you find anything? Oh, bullfrog.
An invasive bullfrog was about it for the herp. Sarah spotted like a little Scaloporus or something dipping into the rocks. But before that, we got some stuff in Tennessee, and we got some stuff in Utah. But yeah, the last out of country trip was to Costa Rica, which was a good trip. We got a lot of good stuff in like 10 days. So,
man, you know what? That's something I'm trying to do.
Y'all are traveling right now. Are you traveling for disc golf right now? Or
yeah, so we're in Vegas right now.
Ah,
yeah,
nice. Maybe.
You doing any Vegas activities while you're in Vegas?
No, I mean we can see the strip basically from the Airbnb we're at, but we'll probably
trying to find ways to get out of the city.
Yeah, we try to avoid cities.
There's Kyle.
Hey, Cal.
Hey, Cal.
Hey, cat.
That comes from
Cool.
one year at Tinley.
Oh god.
I climbed out on the roof of the hotel, and I saw Kyle walking up, and I go, Kyle, Kyle, and I'm jumping around on the roof like 3 stories up. Yeah, I'm kind of an idiot if you haven't figured that out.
It's all good. We're idiots too.
When y'all go to Tinley,
Somebody's
do you
gotta
have
have
a
fun.
hotel that's
Yeah.
in like the same parking lot.
What's up?
You know that
Y'all go
like,
to
when
the
you go
one
into
in
the
the
convention
parking lot?
center at Tinley. There's that hotel that's like in that parking lot. Do y'all stay
Yeah.
there?
Yeah, we stay at the convention center. In the past we've stayed at like hotels within like 10 minutes and stuff, but especially when you're a vendor, it's so much easier to just like be there. But we decided to just suck it up and stay at the convention center because that's where everything's going on. I mean,
Yeah,
the one
makes
right
sense.
across the street is a good backup if you can't get something else. But it's so nice to just be there with everybody else and be able to just walk out and hang out in the lobby and chat or whatever, have people in the room, stuff like that. So there was
Yeah,
quite
we
a while there we
never,
were
For sure.
slinging stuff from the room too, so that makes it a little bit easier.
Yeah, we
But
can
as far
never
as,
get a
like,
room at that place,
stuff,
man. There's never any vacancy.
Yeah, you got to book it like when the one show is up, you got to book the next one.
Yeah. We found that out. We won't be staying there when we go.
Crystal.
Yeah, Kyle always books it for us. Otherwise, we would never get a room there. Yeah. But as far as herping goes, we've done some travel with Brian Susan too. We've gotten around.
I have some pictures in a file for herping stuff, I believe. I think it's this one.
You look like an old man.
Oh, yeah, cropped it a little funny. That's
it's on the trees right now.
Yeah, that tree is in an area that Sarah and I found in Belize, and we kept finding these areas, but like until you see these trees in person, it's really hard to capture like truly how gigantic they are, or like get interesting lighting or anything on them. And we tried this spot a few different times and just couldn't get it. This picture was taken actually almost in complete darkness, and it's a 30-second exposure. I set the camera on a timer and went back and lit it from behind, and then had Sarah kind of light brush it a little bit from the front side too.
Man, you'd never know. That's crazy.
Well, so we spent quite a bit of time trying to get it how we wanted during the day, but it was hard to get the lighting kind of how we wanted.
Yeah.
In my mind, I was like imagining like the fern gully tree, or something like that. But like it's just hard to get. Like I wanted sort of like this glowing, majestic sort of look from there. So,
what part of Belize were you in when you took this?
That was at Coxcomb Jaguar Preserve.
Nice.
Right after this photo, we got charged, I think, by a tapir.
Really? Wow.
Oh wow.
We never saw it. We just heard a large animal making noises and running towards us.
Yeah.
From in the trees.
Yeah.
It was interesting. But we went down there to get our advanced scuba certification.
Oh wow, cool. Yeah, I've been to Belize. It's my one been there.
Yeah.
Well, not my one, but it's my main been there. I went on a school. So I went on a school trip. Live in a landlocked state, but my advisor for my master's thesis is a scuba instructor. He's a master diver. So he teaches us how to scuba dive, and then we go on these trips. So I went all over, really. Went to a small island off the coast called Tom Owens. They run Reef CI out there. Went to Coxcomb, did some hiking out there, and went to a preserve called Be Free. And they had us stay out there, which is in the Bladen Nature Reserve, and that was really nice as well.
Nice. Yeah, we got some good herping in the night that we shot this. We kept seeing like jaguar tracks and tapir tracks and stuff all over, and so we decided that we were the last night we were there. We decided we were going to lay out some palm fronds on the trail like 50 feet out and set our cameras to like flash and hit at those distances, but without turning on any lights. And then we just sat there in pitch black for hours waiting for things to rustle and like take pictures in the dark. and it was kind of terrifying because you would hear stuff and never see anything. And
Yeah,
then
I bet.
after like an hour and a half, though, we did have the little sound trap thing worked, and we got photos of a tapir that came walking up like right towards us. And
That's
then
awesome.
Do we
We
have
went
any
out-
of those? Because I would love
What's
to
that?
see those. Did you send any of those over?
Oh, tapirs. No.
We didn't get great ones. I mean, you can tell it's a tapir, but it's like one flash from 50 feet out, you know.
Yeah.
We got photos.
Yeah, that sounds pretty terrifying.
I didn't
Yeah,
send it.
that's cool.
Yeah, it was crazy because I mean we were seeing jaguar tracks and stuff everywhere. And the night before, we were walking one of the trails and we got some like big cat distress call from like within 100 feet of the trail, and we never saw that either. So I don't know if we were just being warned that it had caught some prey and it was just trying to like let us know it was there versus like coming after us. But it was pretty bone chilling kind of experience for that too. And then we went out on a hike at like 11 or midnight after getting the tapir photo to do a hike and look for, what are they, like toad-headed vipers or jumping vipers or something is what we were looking for.
Oh yeah, jumping vipers are pretty cool.
Yeah, so we went out on this ridiculous hike because Sarah and I each carry like 30 to 40 pound camera packs and like no camping gear. And so we hiked this trail and we were like, when is this trail ever going to end? And we decided to sleep on the trail at 4:30 in the morning with no tents or anything in the Jaguar Preserve because we were like out so far away. We were, I don't know, at least a few hour hike from where we were camping at that point. But
Wow.
it was pretty incredible when we woke up because the howler monkeys were going crazy and they're just like the sunrise with like all this fog in the rainforest. It was pretty sweet.
Yeah, I miss the howler monkey wake up call. I really do. I wish I could have it all the time. It's awesome. But yeah, so we got like literally my favorite snake in the entire world right here.
That's one of Sarah's photos there.
A good one. Found that
Is
one.
it? Yeah.
It's
Beautiful.
Sarah found that one on her birthday.
Oh, nice.
Wow. That's
hell of a birthday present. Yeah.
Just wherever, just speak up a little bit.
Okay.
But yeah, we do a lot of night hiking and just kind of see what we want to find or go looking for whatever we can find. And when we go on trips like that, we don't really have targets because everything's super cool to find, But that was that the last night that we got that one? One of the main last nights?
Yeah.
I think it was.
Yeah.
Some of these things you're looking for is a lot better to you find it than it find you.
Yeah, we got, I think, 3 eyelash vipers on this trip. One was really large and like banana yellow. And then we got this very cryptic, just kind of like brown and green one that was like hanging out on a handrail at one of the Airbnbs we were staying at.
I prefer this color phase actually. I mean the yellows are really pretty crazy too, but this is really
I like
cool.
the yellows, man.
We got a nice, what do they call it? The Christmas phase is kind of what this is. Sort of
this is kind of like that, yeah.
Christmas or garden phase or whatever. We got a really nice, like a red and green one in in Ecuador. When we were out on a guided trip with Brian.
Cool. Yeah, so we got glass frog here. What species is this? I
love those. That's Ilex is the species. Sacatamia ilex or something like that, I believe.
That's 100% a Star Wars character. That doesn't look like a real thing.
I should have put up a photo of the Star Wars assassin bug that we found in Bolivia.
Oh wow.
But this is in Costa Rica with Kyle. I could just probably take photos of those things for hours. Their eyes are so wicked.
Yeah, that's oof,
it's like
speechless.
They're pretty.
You guys
crazy.
are like your life is just kind of like Nat Geo, like a Nat Geo special.
For like 2 weeks every like year and a half or 2 years. Yeah.
That's bad.
It's pretty good.
We like going out and finding the stuff for sure. We don't really do much with it aside from take a few photos. We probably got 30,000 photos from the last 10 years that we haven't hardly even looked at of stuff like this that we just don't have time to deal with. But we're hoping to have more time to do this kind of stuff soon. So
that'd be good.
Definitely. The photos are amazing. You're really,
I mean, and speaking of great photos,
that's badass.
Yeah, I think I took a photo of a hummingbird when I was in Belize too, but it was perched.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah. Kyle and I were shooting this one, and I took 3 pictures of it, and this was one of the 3, like perfectly in focus. and it's
Man,
getting the nectar out of the flower. And he was like, "How the f did you do that?" Like, he was so,
how did you do that? Yeah.
Now, I don't know much about
it was kind of
photography, but
lucky.
knowing what I know about hummingbirds, you must have to have some kind of crazy shutter speed to get that photo, right?
Yeah, it was a really. I can't remember what my shutter speed was at, but
It's the hard part is a lot of the rainforest area lighting is really pretty crappy. So it looks pretty decent to you, but on camera it's hard to get the shutter speed and stuff cranked up without cranking the ISO or running some flash. So
Yeah.
this was kind of in this was at one of the Airbnbs, and they had just a bunch of hummingbirds coming in and stuff. And I think it was a bit overcast, right?
Yeah, it was.
So this would be like under artificial light, or
no? This is natural light,
Yeah.
like overcast day, natural light. Sarah's shooting with a pretty
higher
nice
ISO, probably.
a pretty nice full frame camera, so she can bump the ISO up a decent amount, which would normally give you like
much noise.
Yeah, so normally bumping up the ISO is going to give you like a more grainy image on cheaper camera, but on a full frame camera, you can start ramping it up to get that shutter speed up higher and to stop action like that a bit nicer.
what do you guys use? Use Canon, Nikon? What do you?
We're both shooting Canon, not for any particular reason other than that's what we started with, and that's what we have all the lenses and stuff for. And jumping into like working with some mirrorless, trying out some mirrorless stuff and things too.
Yeah,
so, yeah,
cool.
So,
Hopefully I'm not going to embarrass myself. I was pretty sure that's a leopard, but I don't know. Is it a jaguar?
It is a leopard.
Hey, all right.
and really, the main difference, there's a difference in size and then where they're located, but they're super similar in appearance. Jaguars are larger. Leopards are going to be a bit smaller. The jaguars are going to be like Central and South America. And
the
leopards are going to, this was shot in Tanzania.
Okay.
And we got to watch this. We saw a few, and we got to watch this one for a couple hours, just kind of sleeping in the tree. And then it actually ended up going off to the backside of the tree. I don't know if you can see it in this
I don't think it's
photo.
In this photo.
In some of the photos, you can see a little, it's a gazelle. Mm-hmm. There's like a gazelle draped over the branches in the background. And the thing just randomly went back and picked it up from the backside of the tree and brought it all the way back to this spot and just started mowing on this gazelle that it had killed.
Nice.
It was pretty sweet.
Badass experience.
But yeah, it's a pretty majestic awesome looking creature for sure.
Oh yeah, no doubt about it. And there's a mind blower for you right there. Matamata turtle.
Yeah.
That was cool.
So where'd you guys see this?
This was in Ecuador.
This is probably one of the best herping nights of our lives.
Yeah, we were out with Brian Susan and Derek Dunlop and John Archer. John was there.
Yeah, he was.
His son wasn't there that trip, right?
Yeah, it was in Ecuador.
Did I say Bolivia?
This
was in Ecuador, if I said Bolivia. Yeah. Anyways.
Derek and Brian.
It's in Ecuador. John Archer, I think, was there. He might not have been out that night. Anyways, we got a couple of species of fertilances. We got this mata. We got we got pipa pipas. We got the was it Bothriopsis bilineata? Maybe that's right. I'm really bad with Latin names. A cool, I think it's called like a 2-line tree viper or something, like green with like some yellow stripes on the side. And we got what'd you say was the last one?
Cayman.
We got like a cayman. We got just a ton of frogs and stuff. This is all one night. And we're all like photographing stuff like back to back to back. And Brian's like, oh my God, guys, I got a mata. I got a mata. Like chilling in this leaf pool. I mean,
they're unreal.
Yeah. I mean, they're looking crazy.
We got another turtle species like 10 feet away from this one, just chilling there. Like, that's it was just unbelievable. And it was fairly small. So it was crazy, like yellows and oranges and stuff. The coloration was just fantastic.
Yeah, mata is probably one of my favorites.
Fucking unreal. They don't even, here we go again. They don't even look like real things.
I know. I love it. We're into like Europlatus and leaf tails and stuff. So this is, we've kept mossy leaf tails and satanics and just a ton of other stuff. So there's all the little stuff hanging off its head is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really is. And we've got an old classic,
what's
the
blue jeans.
Familio,
It's a Pomelio.
I think, strawberry poison dart.
Yeah, the blue
Yeah.
jeans or whatever you want to call them. Yeah, it's pretty interesting just based on locality. I mean, you can go 10 minutes away from this spot and they're all solid red with little black spots on them. And then
Elevation.
you go here and they've all got the blue legs on them. It's pretty cool.
Wow, that's cool. Yeah,
That's the
a lot
shot
of
Sarah got. That's from Costa Rica.
Yeah, you're a kick-ass photographer, Sarah.
I had a good teacher.
It looks good. Yeah, looks good.
Man, I can't take a
Great.
picture for crap.
You're gonna have to
Yeah, that's true.
You know, taking a picture of geckos or anything like that is always a freaking nightmare for me.
We were talking that
That's cool.
Andrew needs to do a tutorial or something for people
Yeah.
with how a basic setup of taking
Look
good
at
pictures.
Charles.
Yeah, heck yeah, that'd be a great video, guys. You need to
Yeah.
Got the baby bottle.
So we actually got into photography to try to better represent our animals that we were producing, and that was 2004, I think, is when I kind of started to get into it. So you know, they do those little like call-in contests on the radio and stuff. I was actually building Gecko racks, and I heard like be the 10th caller to win a PlayStation Portable or something, and I was like, I don't play video games, but I'll check it out. And so the first time I ever tried calling in, first call, I won it. But what's funny is they didn't give you a PlayStation Portable because it wasn't like sponsored by Sony. It was just part of the giveaway or something. And so they give you a check to buy a PlayStation Portable. And I was like, I wasted too much time playing video games at this point in my life, so I'm going to buy a camera. And so I just spent like $350-$400 on a camera that was recommended to me by a friend and learned how to do everything with that, and then just worked my way up into like DSLRs and macro lenses and flashes and everything from there. So
Awesome.
and I used just
cool.
using Gecko sales or funds in order to better promote the business at the time, which wasn't much of a business. But if I can sell an animal and buy a camera lens, or sell a few animals and buy a camera, and that stuff lasts me forever. I mean, I'm still using that same macro lens that Sarah bought for me for $400 15 years ago.
Wow.
You know,
Nice.
Yeah, that's definitely something I need to get into, man. Because
it's an investment. It's an investment in yourself, and it's an investment in your time to be able to then utilize those skills for the rest of your life.
Yeah, heck yeah, man. Because I take a picture and it's like, it looks nothing.
I will say, I mean, everything, all the cell phones are getting so much better. Like, it's getting harder and harder to lug these camera bags around and stuff. You can't do any of the macro stuff with the cell phone, and you can't do a bunch of stuff we can do with the real gear, but it's so nice to be able to hop around on rocks and hike 10 miles and not hardly feel it. Whereas with that camera pack, man, it's a pain in the butt.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I hear you.
Carry 30
Yeah,
pounds.
I have a DSLR. It's not super nice. It's pretty base, but I take all my Gecko photos with my phone. I'm guilty of that.
It's so much easier to just
Yeah.
not have to set all that stuff up.
Yeah. I don't mess with it.
No.
So this is the last one I have for you for herping. I'm ashamed to say I don't know what this is. What is it?
That's a good question. I don't remember for sure. You'd have to ask Brian. Maybe
Oh,
he's
okay.
can comment. I don't recall. It's a non-venomous. I don't know. It might be rear fang venomous, like a garter snake kind of deal.
Okay.
It's from Ecuador, I believe, right?
Yeah, that's Ecuador.
It's from Ecuador, and I just thought it was funny because we're like shooting this
Dude.
snake, and all of a sudden this praying mantis comes in and photobombs it.
Right before you said it, I noticed it. I didn't even notice it, and I've looked at
Oh,
this
I didn't see
picture
that.
Yeah, that's the only
That's
reason I
so
sent
cool.
that one, because like it's not a super exciting animal. Like, it's a cool photo, but like the fact that really this little praying mantis just came in, like, it did not give a shit. It just came rolling across, and it just walked right up and over the snake. The snake didn't move, and the praying mantis just like struts off the backside of the branch like it just did not care.
I love it. That is so awesome.
Yeah, in retrospect,
cool.
I probably should have photo stacked it and seen the photos together so the mantis is in focus, but it's a little more natural.
I like that it's sort of blurry. I thought it was part of the freaking plant that it was on.
Yeah, I just
That
thought
is
it was a
cool.
funny picture.
Yeah, it is. It's hilarious to know that part of the story. That brings it to life. That's cool. And honestly, I
Yeah.
didn't see that at all.
Yeah, it was pretty
Oh
fun.
man.
God, you got
So
full size again.
I'm sitting here
We are-
talking
yeah.
with a muted mic.
Yeah, you're okay. So we
Yeah.
are at about as high of a live viewer count that I think we've been on since we started. So I think it'll take a few seconds here, and let's do the giveaway.
Yeah, let's go back
So if
over
you guys
that.
are watching, if you guys are watching live, I want you to comment hashtag L.A.C. capital L.A.C. for me, and then once everybody gets it in, I'll do the comment picker.
Oh,
Yeah,
I didn't have the
you
comments
guys-
up on our viewer, but I do now.
If you guys want to hold the discs up again,
The what?
Oh, the
Oh, the
discs.
disc?
Yeah,
Oh,
Here, I'll take one.
yeah, we have the discs, and I can, if I can figure out how to get mine off.
Player's funny.
hey.
the footprint one is awesome. Now, do you
So,
throw
well,
these in competition?
Yeah, Sarah plays with these same discs. So this is
these ones are brand new. I haven't thrown these.
these ones are unused. This is a Tokay foot, and then the eye is a Leachianus and Chihuahua eye combination.
He's trying to get.
So while we're waiting for these comments to come through, now they have like different style discs depending on what type of throw you're doing, drive, chip, putt, whatever. So what are these two discs?
Oh,
This is a putter. It's an EMAC Judge, which is what I putt with.
Okay.
Pretty neutral.
This is an
Sorry.
Explorer, which is going to be like a stable fairway driver. So we can discuss stabilities if you have questions about it at some point. But what you've got probably 6 or 7 different
Molds. Yeah, I have a bunch of
molds.
different molds.
So I mean, anything from putters to like neutral fairway drivers up to like high speed drivers.
Different color stamps.
Yeah, different colored stamps and different colored discs and all sorts of stuff.
Nice. So with is there like a limit to how many you can have in your bag,
Nope.
No.
or can you only use one once? Does that make
No.
sense? No.
You can. No, there's no limit on that kind of thing. Like for my sponsor, I can only throw certain brands, of course.
Mhm.
So if it's a PDGA approved disc, you could, if you wanted to, you could carry 100 discs. Some people have carts that hold 40 discs or 50 discs. You know, if there's courses with like a lot of water hazards or places where you might lose a disc, like that's where it's a lot different from like golf. Is discs fly very specific ways, and once you learn how it flies, like if you lose it, it can be really challenging to just grab a brand new one and do what you want with it. People will like season a disc for like 1, 2, 3 years to fly a very specific way, and it's the only disc in their bag that'll fly that way. So
Oh wow,
Yeah.
interesting.
There's
all
a lot
my,
that goes into it.
all my clubs in my bag, because I play golf a lot, and they all just go right or left whenever they want. Really,
Yeah, it's never your fault. It's always the club or the ball's fault, right?
It is.
Yeah.
It's always the
It's-
club and the ball.
Yeah, it's the same with the disc. It's never your fault. It's the bad disc.
Oh, man.
Complete mind of its own.
But yeah, so one like we're doing a choice of a disc or 3 of the crested gecko pendants, and the crested gecko pendants can be set up as a little necklace, or we can put split rings on them to use for like zipper pulls for like backpacks and stuff. There you go. Or we can set them up as earrings too.
Yeah, that looks good. Yep.
So,
Awesome. Yeah, they're really cool. I like
so
them.
it'd be for a disc or 3 pendants.
I think I'm gonna get with you guys and get some discs. Gabe.
Yeah.
Some discs.
Yeah, you need a new hobby. For
And
sure.
I know, yeah, the golf, the bowling.
Well, the nice
hockey.
thing about once the
enough.
kid gets to like 2 and a half, 2 years, you can either push them on the stroller and take them outside, get them outside. They can get walking around, then go in the stroller.
They like make little mini junior discs too. So when she's old enough, you can
Yeah.
get her out there.
A lot of
Oh, yeah.
kids just like grabbing them and chucking them around, you know?
She's probably gonna hate me
Yeah.
because I'm gonna have her play like hockey, golf, baseball, like everything. Just find something and do it.
Yeah.
See how it goes. But yeah, no, I'm definitely gonna have to get with you guys because fuck it, I need a new hobby,
It's a lot of fun.
and it's free to play. That's what I'm missing in my life, to be honest.
Yeah,
I'll tell you
for real.
what, man, it's nice because, you know, you can even find like a local shop or whatever and get like used discs for $5 or $10 a piece. And sometimes you find discs, like we try to return them if there's like a name or number on it. But if there's not, I mean, you get free discs playing sometimes too. But it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
For sure. And a
We
lot of
were
the courses are one and a half, 2 miles long. So I mean, you're getting in a decent hike while you're out.
Now, is it 9 holes, eight holes?
Depends on the
Oh,
course. Most
8,
courses are
18.
18, but like we played one today that was 21 holes, I think. It's in
Well,
like
it
a
was
temp
only-
setup. It's like a weird layout, but I mean, there's some 28 hole courses. There's some courses that are just crazy long, or there's some 9 hole courses. It just depends.
What's par look like on those things?
Anywhere from like literally just straight 54, three par 3 for 18 holes, or anywhere up to like low to mid 70s.
So like a golf course, like 72.
Yeah, you
par
can have
30.
some ridiculous like par 4s and par 5s and stuff. So
That's crazy. Yeah, that sounds like fun. I'm gonna start doing that now.
it's awesome.
All right, I think everybody who has decided they want to get in on this has done it. So I'm going to go ahead and hit. I'm sharing the screen here so you can see what I'm doing. I've got our stream on there. I've got our hashtag. So we'll collect the comments. It says 7 entries. I can probably count them to make sure that's right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm seeing 7, 8, but I don't know if my is even still here. No, she is. Okay. That it didn't count. It didn't double count. That's what happened. All right, so here we go. We're going to draw.
Oh, okay.
Grand Crew Reptiles.
Sweet.
Sorry, I thought my wife won for a second, and I was like, damn it.
It's like you have some. You don't have the discs though.
We'll just send
Yeah.
it along
All
with
right.
an invoice for you, Charles.
Do I now?
There you go.
I'll just send it along with an invoice if you win.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That,
you
that's
have to pay
All right,
for it. Yeah.
All right, Grand Crew. How we want to do this, Andrew and
They
Sarah?
can-
Do
they
you want
can
them to go
shoot
ahead
us
and
back.
contact you guys?
Yeah. Have them shoot us a message on our Facebook business page if they can at L.A.C. Herps on Facebook, or email
Yeah.
lacherps@gmail.com. That's fine too.
All
Yep,
right.
either one of those, Grand Crew. Go ahead and send them your information over, and they'll get that out to you. I'm sure once they get back into town.
Yeah, early March we can get stuff sent out.
So
Cool. That'll be good.
quick. I mean, like a question. I guess that I didn't really. I've been wanting to ask. What all
spit it out, Junior.
species of geckos do you guys work with? Because I know you work with chihuahuas, cresteds, gargoyles. Is it just New Caledonian geckos?
They got Sarah. Sorry, we were talking about this the other last week. Me and Nick were talking about your Sarah Sonorums.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yeah, we've got a pretty
What was
nice group of Sarahs. We've got some that we're raising up that are super sweet, and then we've got I think three groups of breeders of those right now, but we should have another 3 or 4 groups going fairly soon. And then we keep some tokays, we keep some white-lined geckos, we keep
Europlatus.
some. Right now, we've got some Europlatus fantasticus. We've got some Saltuaria celebrosus and some Phylurus amnicola. So a couple Australian leaftails. We keep a bunch of morning geckos, which are super exciting.
yeah, they're tiny.
They are actually pretty fun. I actually really enjoy keeping those. They do really well.
I kind of want to get into them.
They do really well
I've
at
always-
shows. Just sell them in like 3, 4, 5 packs at shows all the time. But we got probably 100 or so of those things going right now. They get kind of out of control, like between shows when they can't ship anything out for 3 or 4 months. So we'll whittle them down to like 20 or 30 animals, and we'll have 100, in a few months.
Or we'll let them out of the cages, and there's 30 of them roaming around the room that
Yeah.
we find over a week's time
There's
frame.
there's
You know,
always there's
bug
always a
control.
few of them. Always a few.
Yeah,
of them.
if you get a feeder out or something like that,
Yeah, I made the mistake of transferring them to different cages that had apparently different size holes that are pre-drilled in them,
Oh,
and
snap.
I had like 20 of them get out.
Well, now you got
and-
pest control, I guess.
Yeah, I ended up catching I think close to
Feeders,
20, which
yeah,
is
yeah.
most of what had gotten out. So
Nice.
Nice.
So with them
Oh.
being parthenogenic, is it true that because obviously you could have one and you could get reproduction. Is it true
Yeah.
if you have them in groups, it's way better?
we've never kept them individually, but they definitely do some pretty serious like dominance and breeding behavior type activity between the animals. So I would assume that there's some stimulation there.
Gotcha.
And I've never seen it, but apparently you randomly have males pop up.
Oh wow, interesting.
So
I didn't know that.
I've had that discussion with a few different people. I've never personally seen it, but it doesn't surprise me too much because there are a lot of we have animals that randomly will show parthenogenesis, right? Like Leachianus. Yeah. We've definitely had non-paired fertile Chihuahua eggs and crested geckos and all sorts of other things. Granted, we've never had them go full term. They go about half term and the egg goes bad or whatever, but it happens. And you have some species that, depending on locality, are parthenogenic and other localities are not. For an example, Heteronotia bini, the little binos gecko, the Australian little sandy looking one. Some localities of those are just regular male-female breeding pairs, I believe, and then other localities are parthenogenic. So
all female, yeah, interesting. Another thing I wanted to know, just out of curiosity, like I had a tokay gecko when I was growing up, and I thought it was pretty cool. But I've noticed that over the last several years, there's some wharfs and stuff popping up. Are you guys working with any of that stuff, or are you just doing the standard?
Not so much. There's a fair amount of variability with the normals. Our male is nice, big blue with just a lot of spots and would be considered like a nicer blue normal. And the female is a little bit more drab, but they produce a pretty wide variety of like slaty gray, almost no colored spots hardly. And then some greenish ones. And then just some really nice, like powder blue, animals. So I just kind of like the natural variety.
I mean, they're beautiful.
I think some of the morphs are cool. Some of them don't interest me whatsoever. There are just like some straight powder blue with no spots that are cool. And then I think the leucistics and stuff are kind of cool, but I don't want to keep a ton. I mean, the things eat a ton. Our one male is bigger than some of our smaller locality Leachianus. The thing's 170 grams.
Holy moly.
Yeah, it's big. I mean,
huge.
It's like it's got to be 13 or 14 inches long. It's longer. It's bigger, longer, and heavier than some of our Leachianus.
Man, that's a big angry lizard.
Yeah, it's not so bad. I've worked with it a little bit, so I can take it out without getting bit. And if I do get bit, it's usually like just a leave me alone bite rather than like I'm going to chomp you for 45 minutes straight.
Man,
I have to run you underwater to get you off.
I've tried that. I've back in the day, it was like, how do you get a tokay off? And it's like everybody's like, oh, put a little rubbing alcohol on its nose or like dunk it underwater. And I'm like, dude, I've had this thing underwater for like 3 minutes. I'm not going to
sometimes they don't let go.
The best way to get it to let go is to just literally take your hand with the gecko, clamp it on, and lay it on a branch in its cage and just sit there. Because after like 30 seconds, it's like, all right, peace out, and it just takes off. But otherwise, if you try to get it off, it's going to hang on for a long time.
I know mouthwash works with snakes.
Yeah,
I've used that personally.
I wouldn't doubt that it would work. I'm just not too interested personally in introducing that to the animal if I can avoid it.
Yeah. The weirdest thing I've ever used, I was working, one of my first jobs was at a reptile section of a really huge pet store that used to be in Hampton there. And I had left the room and came back, and my coworker, I just heard him go, "Help." I couldn't see him. I go around the corner, and he's got the Savannah monitor clamped down on his thumb.
Yeah,
and it just wouldn't let go. And we tried everything, and I ran to the dog section of the pet store and got bitter apple. That stuff you spray in dogs' mouths, and that actually worked. Interestingly enough.
Yeah, in my younger
I had that stuff in my mouth too. I'd let go.
in my younger, dumber days, I made the mistake of buying like a little Nile monitor and stuff. And it's like, those things are just nasty. I'm gonna grab a charger for my laptop. I'll be right back.
Oh,
yeah, no worries, man. No worries.
You know what? My brother-in-law has probably one of the nicest Nile monitors I've ever met. He is.
Yeah, I've heard of some nice ones.
He is an absolute sweetheart.
So, Sarah, since we got you here for a second, what's your favorite in your collection, or just your favorite species?
Oh man, I think the Fants are probably one of my favorites. The Europlatus.
Fantastic.
They're just they're just so cool. Just unplug mine. just the intricacies of their pattern and everything is crazy. So they're one of my favorites. And then we also got a blue tree monitor from Brian.
Oh,
He's
wow.
pretty cool. He's a new addition. We got him last October. So
Yeah, the blue trees are badass.
yeah, it's been fun having him in the collection too. So
Yeah, that's so how do you like that? That's another level, huh? Like
the monitor, yeah. We tend to have just like one pet, like more just for fun type. Like we used to have a scaleless garter snake. That was kind of our
garter.
yeah.
Yeah, I found a scaleless garter snake in the wild.
Wait, you found a scaleless garter snake?
Yeah,
Hold on a minute.
Yeah, I was
When
about
was
to say the same thing.
What?
When was this?
2017.
Did you post about it on Facebook in the Field Herp Forum or North American Field Herping Association?
Yeah, so there have been a couple that have been found.
I wouldn't know if it was you. I can't remember.
There was a scaleless wandering garter snake, which is going to be like almost black and white, that was found, and then we found a scaleless plains garter, which was black and almost had like a turquoise blue with yellow on it. But
I feel like I'm not sure. I could have saw that post, and I got involved in the conversation.
I got photos. I can send them to you. The thing, it only lived for a couple of years, but it was pretty freaking cool.
Yeah, like I got involved in the conversation because people were getting like super ticked off about the whole keep it thing.
Yeah, you know? It was a pretty heated topic for sure.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, because I remember seeing a post about that. It may have been yours, it may have been somebody else's, but I was like, damn, they found one in the wild. I mean, it has to occur from time to time.
There's been at least I think 5 found and documented within like the last 20 or 30 years, but only 2 that I think have actually been kept. One was like hit by a mower and dead, and then another one was found while there was like some like state or federal employee there at a national park, and they found it and turned it loose. And then I don't know, there have been a couple. There's a guy in Colorado, I think, that's got a scaleless wandering garter snake that he found. So yeah,
that's cool.
There's some crazy stuff. We found some weird stuff for sure.
Yeah.
Do we have a picture of some of your cresty breeders? I think I saw it earlier.
Yeah, there's.
I was going to ask you guys about some upcoming pairings. Well, not upcoming. I mean, I'm sure it's happening right now. But you got anything cool you're excited about? Something specific maybe you've been working on for a while,
or? We've got quite a variety of crested geckos, and we
share that one.
Yeah, so we kind of did not produce many. Yeah, that's a good name. We reused a couple of names from like 8, 10, 12 years ago of animals that we'd gotten rid of, and like Hot Pants and Swagger were just too good of names to not reuse.
Dude, Swagger is white.
So we didn't produce many crested geckos the last couple of years just because we were kind of overwhelmed and just didn't want that many hatchlings. So we've been sitting on all of those animals literally for years that have been ready to breed, and we just didn't even pair them up because we just didn't feel like dealing with hatchlings. So that's kind of where we were at for a couple of years. But I just dropped the day job January 1st. So
was that your shop job you were talking about?
Yep. So going into the animals more, and it's been nice because it's kind of reinvigorated some of the passion as far as like working with the animals and just all that stuff and the photography and everything. So that's just a random sampling. We've got some like high white, non-lily whites, some really nice red pinstripes and red Harleys, some stuff that's got like really light pink and red base pattern and just like a ton of pattern otherwise. And then we've got a few lily whites, and we've got some animals that we're not really posting photos of right now that are very, very light base colored with just like
dilute,
almost no patterns. Yeah, it's just like a really diluted, like I don't want to give it a name. So, but we've been working. You can look at some of the breeder pairs on our Facebook page that go back 2 generations from what we started with on this, and there's some interesting stuff. So we've got some babies from some of those things. I don't want to call them hypo. I don't want to call them, any of that stuff. But it's kind of
Sure.
going that direction. So,
Gotcha.
Very nice.
yeah. But we're always looking at head structure. Overall, just everything about them. We're really working towards like crest length, head structure, size. Like we're just not interested in producing animals that don't have nice crests or nice head structure. Personally, I think that's what makes them so appealing and so personable and everything is those features. So I don't really want to get into that.
Yeah, I would agree.
Man, I tell you, I love Hot Pants. That's a pretty gecko right there.
He is.
Thanks. Yeah, that one was produced. It's on a generation kind of once removed from a breeder loan we did with AJ Davidson back in 2015, 2016 or so.
Yeah, so that's kind of like what I'm like working on right now. It's like I like the red, like Harlequin stuff. That's my project for this year. That's basically what I'm working.
Yeah, red are fun. They take a while to get a good take on how they'll develop, and they take a little while to show that color development for sure. But once you get an eye for it, you can usually get a pretty good take on it in like 2 to 4 months or so. It kind of starts showing hints of what they're going to do.
Yeah, heck yeah, man.
You got some more there, Nick?
For sure. Yeah, so we got a couple more cresties here.
Well, so that was
just one. Apparently.
Yeah, unfortunately. So the other one, I think I'd sent it to you, but maybe it's not on there. That was actually to get into the incubation temp stuff.
Oh, okay. I got you.
This
yeah,
one,
I definitely.
No worries. This one was a comparison from the hot incubation temp group. And you can see how relatively lacking the head structure is.
Yeah.
And what we did for that was we were trying to determine if we could find incubation temp sex dependency in crested geckos. So we did a baseline at the time of like 50 hatchlings at room temperature fluctuating from like 72 to 76 average temps. And then we started picking 50 hatchlings at other temperatures. And so say we would get 100 eggs, we would split clutches, one in the cold group and one in the hot group, and then we would compare. Eventually, we weren't looking at this initially at all for head structure, size, color, any of that stuff was nothing what we were looking at. And the second that they hatched, we were like, wow, this is a big difference. I mean, it was notable enough that you could take somebody that knows nothing about crested geckos, literally nothing at all, explain to them what structure is, and you could show them 100 photos, and I think that they would split them up with 80 to 90% accuracy what group they came from temperature-wise.
Nice. So we've been talking about the sex dependency temperature incubation for a while. Me and Nick have. About maybe
my plan was to try to do something with it this year and see if I could get anything on that, but I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to yet. Still looking for. Ideally, I'd like a cooling incubator, something that I can really control the temperature very well without having to worry about.
That's what we used. I don't know if they make them anymore. Some people apparently had a lot of issues with them. We did not.
Is it like the little mini fridge Exoterra looking thing?
Yeah. So Exoterra,
I used to have one.
Exoterra had rebranded or branded some off-brand Chinese mini fridge heater incubator thing that we bought from another place without their name on it, but it was the same thing. And that's what we used for the cooling side. And then we just used a little hovabator, and it would be easier to do now because we were recording temperatures 3 or 4 times a day and just writing them all down. But now you can get little remote temperatures that log all of that stuff.
Yeah, I have actually some. Yeah, I have some little. They're called hobo loggers from my field research, and they will log temperature for me every 5 or 10 minutes for basically infinity. The battery lasts for like 3 years or something.
Yeah. So we didn't have anything like that. So ours was pretty simplistic, but we did that. And then we started with that first group. And at that point, we already had a pretty good idea of like how hatchlings should look from a given pair for structure and size and color and everything. And then we took a group and we did them pretty cool, like average temp of 68. And then we did a group at 78, and then we ramped it up to 80, and then we almost hit like 82, which is really pushing it. I'm not saying so. There's a big part of like head structure, color, everything. A big part of it is genetic. So I'm not saying that like you're just going to take this horrible head structure animal and incubate it cool and pop out nice head structure animals. What I'm saying is you can absolutely influence the genetics that you can see. You can influence the head structure and the color based on incubation temperature. So this is, if you look at the picture, you can see a pretty clearly distinct difference in like head structure. I have a couple different angles there, Nick, on like the tail size and different stuff like that. So you can see the one that incubated cooler for longer has like a nicer shaped tail with a more developed little paddle on the end and stuff like that. And the poorer structured animal does not grow up to have nice head structure. It is not developed. It is essentially stunted in that development from hatching out early throughout its entire life.
Right.
So,
I love your data. It's very thorough. I'm enjoying it.
Thank you. So I'm not a scientist by any stretch, but I do like playing with stuff and I do like trying to answer questions. This is a very, very simple test that anybody can do.
Yeah.
How difficult is it to split up 2 eggs and keep them in different conditions? It's not hard. But there's a couple issues. One, there's a lot of people that will just tell you that it's not right, but have no data to back it up. They'll tell you that you can't do these things or that those aren't results that you're going to get. But the other issues with actually doing the testing is if you're trying to check sex, you got to keep that stuff for a while.
You have to wait. Yeah.
You've got to wait. So you're either not selling stuff for a while, which whatever, at the time I didn't need money, but you got to take up a lot of cages and you got to feed a lot of animals for a lot longer than you want. If you're normally selling at 3 or 5 grams or something, and you want to raise them up to 15 or 20 grams. And then what I ran into on the high side of incubation was nobody wanted to buy the shitty structured animals. So I'm essentially sabotaging my goal of what I want to produce for high head structured animals just by playing with the incubation temperatures. And I didn't really want to do that. But what initially got me to notice that stuff was I noticed at the time there were some breeders out in California that were producing really nicely colored animals that had just piss poor head structure. So they'd be like almost glowing yellow, orange, red, but their head structure was horrid. And I think it was just from the incubation temperatures that they were doing, just making the head structure terrible. So
I mean, I have been doing around 74 to 75 degrees for the last few seasons in a hovabator just because I don't really trust what's going on with the fluctuations in my apartment. And that was just my mentality for it. And everything works out. I mean, they hatch and they do well. But I have noticed that, even though some of my animals do have pretty good structure, that the babies are just kind of weak in that area.
Well, so I will tell you this. We incubate everything at room temperature right now, fluctuating between 72 and 78, and we don't focus on incubation temperature to try to enhance head structure whatsoever right now. I'm just telling you that it can be done to a certain degree, but there are benefits and downfalls to incubation temperatures. So if you're in like this 68's the coldest that we tried to go, and up to about 72, the animals incubate for a while. They have nice head structure, but to a certain degree, sometimes will actually hatch out a little bit smaller than you would think. There's a sweet spot of like 72 to 78 where the animals are going to hatch generally with a little bit more vigor. Up towards like that 7, like right in the middle of there is ideal. Animals that are incubated too cold tend to be potentially a little bit lethargic and just not really have that drive and growth and stuff. But once you break 78, if you hit 78 to 80 for a constant temperature, it's not good. They hatch out in like 50 days. The head structure starts going downhill. The skin is like almost a little bit transparent, almost looks like it's been cut from the egg like a week or two early kind of deal.
Right. Yeah.
Which makes sense, right? I mean, it's just had to develop.
You rushed. Yeah.
Right. And so when you get that 80 to 82,
God damn it.
when you get that
Here we go
82,
again.
it really just goes downhill, and it's bad. They'll hatch, most of them, but it's just not good.
Yeah,
So something that I actually like. So like I hatch my geckos basically just like room temperature, whatever the room is. That's what it is. And I don't know. My room varies sometimes between like 68 to say like 82. It's gotten that hot before.
Mm-hmm.
Hey Nick,
but
can you pull
Yes.
up?
I don't know, man. Like I really
account?
haven't
You can
noticed
get that shit out of here through YouTube.
I don't know if I can. I don't think I can get it to go away right now. But I'll try.
It'll be all right, bro. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
I
We've had it happen a handful of times, unfortunately, when you do this type of thing.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean the eggs usually will still hatch even if they spike into like the mid to upper 80s potentially. But sustained temperature there is not good. And then also sometimes what you'll see with big high or low fluctuations is stuff will, you know, when you do a study like this, you can calculate like pretty much a day or two of when stuff should hatch.
Mm-hmm.
And when you spike and you have these big swings, it'll either try to accelerate something to try to hatch early, even though it's not ready, or it'll essentially stunt something in the egg. And then it thinks, oh, I should be developing for X amount of time. And then all of a sudden the temp jumps up again and it tries to hatch. So you can have issues with swings for sure. Nick, we were going to talk about, I didn't really get into what color changes you can get with incubation, but I think you can affect like leopard geckos and stuff like that with incubation temperature. And definitely with crested geckos, if you have a pair that's going to consistently produce really nice, say, red animals, they're going to be darker red the longer they incubate, and they're going to be brighter red the less amount of time that they incubate. And it makes sense. It's just got that much more time to develop pigmentation. So
yeah, for sure.
The alternate photo to the one that I showed you with the poor head structure was actually the clutch mate to that animal. I don't think that you have that one, Nick, but it showed
I don't think I do, unfortunately.
Okay. It showed a difference in the head structure, but also it showed the difference in the actual base coloration. And you're gonna have fluctuation within what a pair will produce for sure, either way.
Yeah.
But if you say take 5 clutches and you're able to draw the line and compare them side by side in different temperature groups, it's pretty apparent. So you can do like yellows and stuff too, kind of the same way.
Yeah, I wonder, like, I have a pair. I changed my pinstripe pairing this year to a different male, but last year I paired this pair together, and I got pretty consistently like a 50-50 of pins that were slightly broken and then pins that were full back pins. Mm-hmm. I wonder if a longer incubation time would reduce the number of broken pins. Even.
I did not look at that correlation myself. I've questioned though on the Chihuahua side if say certain incubation temperature. I did all the same studies with Chihuahua too, by the way.
Yeah.
But not with enough numbers that I would like to have done, and it just came down to a time issue, which I'm hoping to have more time to deal with it this year. But I had the same wonder, like, oh, am I going to get like more white or more solid white pattern from different incubation temperatures, or stuff like that. I think there are plenty of things that you can look at, and the issue is there could be 100 people that produce 50 crested geckos a year that all could do this, but people just don't do it. It's not hard.
Yeah, I mean, it needs to be done, I think. I mean, if I can get my hands on that cooling incubator, which I have a vendor at my show who's supposed to be maybe getting me one at wholesale, but I'm not sure. If it doesn't pan out, I'll just get one and pay the full price for it, because I'd really like to do this now. I mean, maybe with the goal of looking at sex again. I mean, it's always good to repeat, even though you guys didn't see it. It may happen, but the same time, this stuff really interests me a lot. It's very cool.
There's a lot of variables that can be influenced, and I can't remember the name of the brand right off the bat, but I've got a split unit that can heat or cool top and bottom separate from each other.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that's cool.
I haven't set them up yet. I have 2 of them, and I've been sitting in the kitchen for a year. But I'm hoping to have more time to play with this kind of stuff now. So,
yeah, that would be cool for sure. Yeah, we can definitely compare results and stuff for sure.
we were going to discuss, and I know I've taken literally forever. I can talk about this stuff forever, but the potential for hatchling vigor and how well they do based on temperature and potentially temperature fluctuation. I don't have a correlation to that with crested geckos or Chihuahua myself, but I do have a friend that researched that for, I believe, a PhD with spiders, and he noted a significant increase in overall like health and vigor of the animals that of the spiders that were kept in a more natural cycle of temperature change to where they were from, rather than being incubated at a set cool middle point or high point. Having that fluctuation in temperature just gave them like overall a huge difference in how well they hatched out and how well they thrived. So I would question trying to mimic a natural fluctuation in temperature of, say, New Caledonia or something like that, versus like trying to just have a set 76.
Yeah, so that's kind of what I was trying to say earlier when I was saying that my room varies a big temperature. Just I haven't really noticed it affect, the way that my babies do. I mean, like they're all just crazy, like.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely some stuff to play around with. I think so. The other thing about the incubators that I've got that I haven't played with yet, you can set like a nighttime temp drop. So you could set it to be like 78 during the day and have it drop to 72 at night, and try to recreate something there rather than just keeping them super constant.
I gotcha. Yeah, you'll have to send me what the brand or whatever is on those. I'd like to check them out. Yeah,
I'll have to look it up again. Mike had asked if we ever cut eggs.
Yeah.
The answer to that is yes, but almost never. I have to have a specific reason to do it. I'm not just going to do it. So, for an example, end of season, and a female has produced some mediocre eggs, and I know that they should have hatched by now, and the clutch mate to the one has just pipped and died. And I've given it a few days to hatch on its own, and its clutch mate did not make it. I will consider opening that egg. Other than that, I will not open an egg just to open an egg. I've done it for 100 different reasons, and most of the time it's not good. And I just don't see a point to it. If it's not gonna thrive and make it out on its own, generally, I'm probably not gonna worry about it, and it's probably gonna become a monitor snack. If it's if it isn't like rotten in the egg, I'm gonna try to make use of it. But other than that, I'm not gonna open an egg, and I can tell when breeders open the eggs just by looking at the animal. So whether it's premature or not, you can tell when they post up a picture of a gecko that's been cut from the egg. It looks very different than one that's hatched on its own.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't been doing this side of the hobby for that long, but I've only ever cut 2 eggs, and it was because they just went way, way past, and they were dead. And I actually have both of them preserved as specimens. Actually, let's call it 3 of them, because one of them is a conjoined twin.
Nice.
Which is pretty cool.
Yeah, we've got a conjoined twin preserved of a Sarah sonorum, a white collar, a white spotted Sarah, and then
that's gotta be cool.
We had twins hatch from the same egg from Sarah's one time, from the same pair.
Oh wow, that's cool. And they both did great and everything was good.
But they were tiny. Like they were normally our Sarah's hatch at like 2.5 grams a piece, like pretty good size, like certainly larger than a crested gecko. And these were like 0.9 or like 1 gram, which is like half the size of a large crested hatchling. So I mean, they were tiny.
Teeny tiny.
Now,
wow.
I've heard that the Sarahs are pretty hard to kind of get going breeding. At least
they're just really inconsistent for us. Like some seasons we'll be like, oh, we're popping out dozens of them, and then other seasons we'll have 3 pairs of them going and not get a single good egg. The Chihuahua can be super.
Kind of got a mind of their own.
Yeah, Chihuahua can be super hit or miss too, but not like what we have with the Sarahs. It just kind of, I don't know, big swings with those for some reason.
Gotcha.
Nick, can you pull the photos back up? I saw there was. It looked like there were some different species of their.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah, we had a subsection with their breeders in it.
Yep.
Man, we already
doing a couple other things here.
Yeah, AJ, what up?
Hopefully we're not.
Time.
Yeah.
2 hours.
You're about to get them beat.
We're going 3. Sarah's like, no, we are not going 3
And we
hours.
haven't talked about food cake
forever.
yet.
Okay, there we go. So this is an eyeball, which is
Yes,
just
it
badass.
is. Holy shit!
Yeah, that's a
How'd you even do this?
that's a
How do you get a
Chihuahua.
picture like
That's a
that?
Chihuahua eye. I've actually got video of the pupils contracting at this magnification from 4 different species that I'll have to send you guys. It's pretty sweet.
Yes,
Yeah,
please.
I'd love to
I'm
see
gonna
that.
message
Yeah.
you from my personal Instagram account so we can keep
Yeah.
in touch, and I would definitely love to see those videos.
Yeah, I mostly have stuff on Facebook, but Sarah uses the Instagram, so we'll get it posted up on there.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah, so that's a
But yeah,
Chihuahua
so-
eye handheld with a very specialized macro lens that only focuses from like half an inch to like almost touching whatever it is you're taking pictures of.
Yeah. And I would say that's about as close to almost touching as you could have got, right?
It's pretty close.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've never seen detail in blood vessels like that in an eyeball picture.
The
I've
hard,
seen
the
other
hard
eyeball
part
pictures.
about it at that magnification is the depth of field is literally a fraction of a millimeter. So when I'm doing, like, some people use like these focusing little adjustable tools to like micro adjust where the lens is. I do all this handheld, so I'm floating there trying to like brace it on like my knee and trying to not breathe for like a minute, trying to pull focus on something, you know?
Oh man.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and like
thorny.
your heartbeat and stuff affects where the focus point is. It's so minuscule. It's
It's
pretty
fine because you're holding your breath.
yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, you're holding your breath and your heart's like, come on, we gotta keep living here.
Yeah, that's badass.
That top one's some hatchling Chihuahua from when we got back from Tinley.
Oh,
Yeah.
shit.
So interesting. I mean, these are obviously really nice and they look really awesome. But I rewatched recently your Herpton talk about Chihuahua, and I remember you saying something about sometimes they come out really awesome and then they dull down. Is that what happened here, or were they just awesome forever?
It depends on the lines. Some of our more white animals, the white, like sometimes the collar will stay white and the body white will turn green, or the collar will turn green, and then some of them just stay really stark white. These are all only 4 months old at this point, so they all look pretty slick. But we hadn't hatched out like a whole lot of super like high end Chihuahua like all season, and then these all hatched when we were at Tinley.
These are freaking gorgeous, man.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, so we just
I tell you what, I had never really held a elite. What am I talking about? A Chihuahua. You know, and when we were going to Tinley, we stopped at Nick's house first to pick him up, and I got to hold one of them, and it's incredible how hard they hold on.
When I first saw them, like back in the day, and they were just like these little green brown little turds, you know, because when they're small, they don't have a whole lot of color or anything going on. I was like, I don't know, I don't see the appeal. At the time, it was like $350. I'm like, oh, it's $350 for a little brown gecko, you know? It's like the second you check one out or like you get to interact with one, they're just so cool. They're very muscular, and the tail and everything is just really, really cool.
They're my favorites right now, other than maybe the Coleonyx, just for their behavior. But as far as, you know, being able to handle a gecko, the Chihuahuas are it in my collection currently.
Yeah, they're so variable and they're so personable, but some of them are just like, we've got some that are just gigantic assholes. And then we've got some that I swear, like, they just want to mess with you. Like, they just literally want to try to scare the shit out of you when you go into the cage, and they like lunge from the opposite wall to like just scare you. I swear they do it for fun.
That's awesome.
Nick, pull that Sarah image up.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Damn,
so I was lucky enough to pick up a group of 17 Sarah Sonorum from a European breeder, and I split them up with AJ. So
nice.
We picked up some super sweet ones, and that was one of the ones in the group. So we're definitely working towards getting some more of those blotches connected and just really bold, nice stripes and thick collars and stuff on them. So
yeah,
it'd be cool to at some point have full stripes. That'd be badass.
Yeah, so we've got some that have like almost highlighted, like a more highlighted belly white, and then also, as you can see, that one has almost a fully striped tail too. So we've got quite a bit of variability in the tail pattern and stuff too. That's pretty sweet.
Yeah, they're gorgeous for sure.
Thank you. Yeah, those are ones we're raising up that are hopefully be ready to breed next year, that are doing really well.
Sweet. Yeah, man.
All right.
Very well.
All right. So
much for keeping it to
5
an hour.
hours?
I told you I'd talk forever.
I'm good, man. I mean, if you guys are good, I'm good. It's all about whether we're keeping you guys for too long, really. We're here for it.
No, we're good. So, but yeah,
Sarah's got to look like, I don't know, maybe a little. Maybe just
I'm used to this. I just let him do all the talking.
that shows she always gets screwed because I end up like talking to the customers forever, and then she's trying to work the sales.
Yeah.
Sarah's like, I just sold 4 geckos, and I'm over here like not making sales but talking to people forever.
We're like, that's crazy because this guy owns 4 geckos. Isn't that insane?
Yeah.
Fun stuff, man.
So yeah, but no, it's been fun, and just been working on trying to get stuff kind of dialed in at the house and streamline things so then we can hopefully branch out again. It's like try to narrow the focus down to like similar care on a bunch of stuff, and then now we're at the point where hopefully we'll have a little bit more time to branch out again, you know.
Yeah, man, maybe you guys can start a blue tree monitor project.
Yeah, I don't know that we have the space to. I mean, we can make space in other rooms, but as far as that room goes, there's not really much room to spread out too much.
Gotcha.
When we set up the room, we kind of wanted it to like actually be really well lit and have like enough room to take like a custom made table that's on casters, be able to like spin around between all the cages and be able to have 6 or 8 people in the room to show them animals and stuff without just feeling like you're completely cramped in there. And so we've maximized space to a point where it's still comfortable, but without like making it just like super crowded.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'd say it looks spacious from the photos. It looks like you got plenty of room to work in there.
Yeah, it's kind of nice because we've been in all different sizes of spaces and maximized, I think, floor to ceiling really pretty well overall. There's still space for a few cages, but right now it's like our photography setup room corner and stuff. So
Definitely.
Yeah.
But yeah. What else you guys got going on? I see Gabe, you keep a tegu and some other stuff in there.
Yeah, so like
what kind of tegu is it?
I got a red tegu and I also got a black and white. So I got I got Fluffy, he's a Argentine red. And then I got the girl man, I forgot Elsa.
I was gonna say, did you name her?
yeah, I forgot her name, man, because I don't know. I just call them babies most of the time. So I got Elsa. You know, she's cool, but she's a little spaz. And then I got my real thing that I'm working towards right now is Chinese water dragons. I really want to start producing those guys. I know it's one of those species that most people don't really pay a lot of interest to.
They don't get a lot of attention, but they're super cool animals for sure.
They really are, man.
You know, I wouldn't put them in the same boat as like a green iguana, but the issue is they're cheap and they get big, and people don't want to spend the time and money to set them up the way that they should be set up. And I'm personally guilty of that myself with that species. And
it was me Gabe's first
back in the day.
Man, I'll tell you what, it's like they just got personalities, man.
They're super cool. They're gorgeous animals.
They really are. So hopefully at some point soon I'll be able to start producing those guys, because I don't know. It's one of those animals that you see like so many of them that come in wild caught and you never see any adults.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like
it'd be cool. It'd be cool to see more of the Australian water dragons too. I feel like there was a while where you were seeing a bunch of those, and then they just kind of disappeared. And then there were a couple people that are producing them, but not many. We found those when we were in Australia. They're super cool.
Yeah, they really are. They're a little more robust in the Chinese than the green one. You know,
they can do well in like outdoor setups down south and stuff for a decent chunk of the year.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
So, yeah, we still need to figure out what we're going to put in all those funky hex corner cages other than plants and like the little triangular corner cages that we've got. I don't know.
There's always more stuff.
There's some badass like carpet chameleons.
With some
I don't know. I mean, listening to Bill's thing, I think we could probably get by with some chameleons in those with the little fans for some ventilation to keep the humidity up, but still get some ventilation. But other than that, there's not good ventilation in those cages for the most part. So
Yeah.
Well, ventilation with chameleons is deceiving.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because actually,
I could see doing like some. I mean, I've kept like a veiled chameleon and some Mellor's chameleons and stuff. But I think in those cages, I mean, yeah, some smaller chameleons or pygmy chameleons can be kind of cool, or some like red-eyed croc skinks or some Crusiohyla, the leaf frogs, the Amazon leaf frogs and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Those things are super sick. Or like some Abronia or something, maybe.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
man, for sure.
Yeah, that's where it's at. Those things are cool.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I got a little bit of everything. So
yeah, Gabe's got a variety.
I've been there before.
Well, see, I'm more of just a hobbyist, man. I just do it for fun. So like, what I keep is what I like, you know. So
yeah,
you know, I got a water monitor, you know, and stuff like that. I like a variety, you know. I don't really plan on breeding one specific thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Cool.
Sorry, guys. I'm slowing down here, man. I'm trying to
I like a variety.
keep my eyes open.
He's about.
I don't want to say I get bored easy, but I get bored easy. You know, like I need a lot to keep my mind busy.
I'm surprised you made it this long, Charles. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I'm holding it together, man. Because I there's so much I just want to talk about and say. Because I feel like me and you, just like me and AJ, we could just shoot the shit forever. But I'm like nodding, trying not
to sleep.
Trying to keep it together over here.
Well,
yeah.
I guess you know, we need you for the outro, bro.
Oh, do we?
We go to sleep.
I think I did a pretty good job last week.
Nick did.
Yeah, you did all right.
There's good and then there's perfect, so you'll never be that.
Yeah, I mean, this is the basis of our entire relationship, brother.
It was a good try, Nick. That's what he's saying. It was a good try.
It was a good try. Yeah. So based on fuck it, Mike coming in the clutch, keeping us awake here. Ever worked with Electric Blues?
We have not kept them, but we did find them in Tanzania.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's a very small habitat made up of an area the size of a couple of football fields, actually.
Wow.
In Tanzania, and we did that trip. Basically, we knew where to find them, and we camped nearby, and we knew that we were supposed to target a certain type of plant. And they are very, very, they're not difficult to find, but they're very difficult to photograph because they hang out in these, I think it's some kind of like pandanus plant that have ridiculously sharp, like yucca, aloe looking huge leaves that come off of them, but they're just serrated, crazy, nasty bad. And these things will just live like family groups within like a pandanus. And most of the ones you find the Lygodactylus williamsi in are up 10 to 15 feet off the ground, and you're in like a rainforest canopy. So the lighting is terrible. So we had to figure out how you could only get within about 10 or 15 feet of them, and they roll around to the backside. And so we had to figure out how we could pop them with flash with a telephoto lens in daylight in horrible rainforest lighting in order to take pictures. Wow. We got some good ones. It just took us a while.
Yeah.
But they're super cool, and especially in the wild. I mean, they're just glowing blue. They're pretty sweet.
Yeah, that's crazy. Oh my god, dude!
Twice.
Well,
the longer we stay on, the more likely it is for this. I don't know. I'm gonna have to find out exactly what to do. I know how to make people admins now.
I'm gonna get with Wally tomorrow and figure out the whole admin and moderator situation.
Yeah, because awful.
Terrible shit.
I don't know that we can end it on the horrible commentary, though.
You just want to keep talking.
I'm just kidding. We can end it wherever, and you can just cut out whatever you want. Nobody can see the comments later on, right? It's just
Not the live. No,
the
no,
chat just goes away.
Yeah, it goes. That part of it goes away. Yeah.
That's
So,
unfortunate.
I just want to get this straight before, because if you guys are going to do like a secondary giveaway, are you going to do you want me to do it in the comments on this video? I can do that.
Yeah, what if you want? I mean, you could set up a like whether you want to do it on Instagram.
Oh my god!
You could
you got it in this video, bro.
Right.
You could do like, say you want to announce it on your Instagram or you want to announce it here. It could just be like give them a week time frame from when you publish it to make a comment about what they have questions. Any comment.
Yeah, any comment. Yep,
we can just post something there. They have a question about something, whatever they want to know about.
You can do it on their page.
Yeah, you can do it on your guys' page. We'll do our own deal. We could do a total of 3. It's fine with us.
Okay, yeah, if that's fine with you. Yeah, okay. So we did one live. Anyone who's watching now or watches later, I'm going to announce on our Instagram, on our Facebook, and I'm announcing it live right here, right now. If you comment on this video after the fact, 1 week from tonight. So when we do our next stream, I can do a comment picker on that, and you can have your choice of 3 of the crested gecko pendants or one of the personalized golf discs as well.
Yeah, and Sarah's got individual photos of like almost 100 of those discs of different colors and stuff.
Yeah, I have a big, like a screenshot of a bunch of them from Facebook. But
so there's a lot to choose from on there.
Yep. Okay.
Okay.
Very good.
Well, Charles, what are you here for?
Yeah. So, what am I here for? Thank you.
Well,
no, man, but definitely is a successful episode. So, thank you guys very much for joining us. There's so much to unpack with your whole setup and your husbandry tactics and everything. So we definitely going to stay in contact and work on a future episode. Probably something more specialized to something like husbandry related, especially with your sorry, I thought it was another comment. My heart skipped a beat. With what you're doing with your cresties and stuff like that, because you really got some state-of-the-art stuff going on there.
Thank you.
Dude, their setup
A1. So
it's taking a long time to get to that point.
Oh yeah, I bet.
I love the misting system, man.
A lot of hard work.
Thank you.
Definitely. So if you guys don't know, now you know. L.A.C. That's where you go. They got some beautiful stuff all across so many different species. Beautiful facility and all that. So make sure you like and subscribe. Go over to their Instagram. Is it _
L.A.C. _ Herps?
Yeah, okay. That's what I thought. L.A.C. _ Herps, and check them out. So thanks again, guys, for hanging out with us here at the Reptile Hangouts podcast.
Absolutely. It was
Thanks
a good
for having
time.
us.
Yeah,
another great episode.
Thanks for anybody that joined along and shot us some questions and stuff.
Definitely. Thank you, Mike.
Yeah, appreciate you, Mike. You're always coming in clutch with the questions, buddy.
Mike's the question man. We appreciate it. So have a good night, guys. And thank you all for coming to hang out with us this week on Reptile Hangouts. I'm hanging out. Sarah and Andrew are hanging out. You're hanging out. We'll see you next week on Reptile Hangouts. Thank you very much, guys.
Peace out, guys.
Bye.
Peace out.
Thanks.